Slabodkea Chevra. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh b'dvarei. We have an exciting shir tonight, as you can tell from the situation that's happening around me in the situation room. I guess this looks like the situation room, no? Is there a situation room in the White House? They call it the situation room. Any case, tonight, before Rosh Hashana, I'd like to learn a very special letter that the Rebbe's father has sent to him, in which he explains the mystical in Yanim. Every single one of them blows my mind every time I learn it. I don't know, however, the only question is, how pi halacha, if we're allowed to have such entertainment right before Rosh Hashanah. It's holy delight, but it's almost fun to read this. You just have to. Now, I didn't prepare this besides for the last hour, an hour 20 minutes, and I didn't get through the whole thing at all. So we're going to learn part of it this week, even though it deals with Tashlich that we're going to be doing next week. We'll learn part of it this week, and we'll continue Belz next week, Thursday night. Here we go. Erev Rosh Hashanah, and what I love about it is really cool, is that this is a letter that he sends to his son. Imagine you sending a letter to your child. This is the casual conversation. The casual conversation has the ideas of all of the cosmos included in them, and that's just how are you, how you doing, yeah, I want to give you a bracha for Rosh Hashanah, and he goes into this, and this must have been the correspondence back and forth between father and son, and this was like the kind of discussion. So when you get a little peek into this entirely different world of a reality, where when you're sending a letter, obviously they sent letters to each other. It was those days, it wasn't so easy to get letters back and forth, especially with Rosh, so he sent the letter. So the letter is just this mystical world. In any case, Erev Rosh Hashanah, Hey Tov Reish Tzadik Vav. So this letter is from the year Tov Reish Tzadik Vav. That would make this 1936. The Rebbe's father is sending his son a letter. Dnepropetrovsk. Those are one of the words that you have to be born in Chabad to be able to say. If you're not, then you can't say this. Dnepropetrovsk. In any case, that's the town, the city where the Rebbe grew up. His father was the rabbi in. Ahuve Chavive. My beloved, my cherished, Yekirei, my precious, Umachmadai, and my most affectionate, maybe. Beni Menachem Mendel, my son Menachem Mendel, Vizukasai, and your wife, or his wife, Kalasi, my daughter-in-law, Chaya Mushke. You should live a long life. Memamake Talume Slavavi, from the depth of the recesses of my heart, V'nafshi, and my soul, Hineni Mevarech Eschem, I bless you, L'kras Hashana Chadasha, towards the new year, Haba Aleinu L'tova, that is coming towards us for good. Shalashana toiva tichtavu, for a good year you should be inscribed la'alter l'chayim toivim aruchim. You should be inscribed immediately for good life, long life, u'l'shalom, and peace. And the Rebbe's father immediately says, Shanas hazeh b'Rosh Hashanah. This is what's taking place on Rosh Hashanah, that long life is given out. Sha'azu binyan ha'malchus, that's when there is the construction of the divine kingship, al yedei tkiyah shofar, through blowing of the shofar. Kamamar, like Hashem says, imre lefanim malchiyos, say before me verses of kingship, kadesha tamlichuni aleichem. You should make me king over you. Ubama b'shofar, and how is that accomplished? Through the shofar. So in Rosh Hashanah we construct Malchus, and obviously all life, the whole existence, our entire reality is all a derivative and part of the construction of the binyan of the Eibishter's empire. We're all part of his empire. We are somewhat included and part of Hashem's kingdom. So when Hashem constructs his kingdom, it really means the construction of the fabric of all of existence and of each and every one of our lives. And that's done through the shofar. But he says, "Umavad ha-shofar b'Rosh Hashanah." But in addition to the shofar in Rosh Hashanah, yesh oid b'Rosh Hashanah. There's another thing that happens at Rosh Hashanah. Acha mincha, after mincha, we do something called Tashlich. Seder Tashlich. We do Tashlich. Ayin Sham. Al Shem. I'm sorry. Which the idea of Tashlich represents what it says. V'sashlich b'mitzulos yam. Hashem will cast in the depth of the sea, kol chatoisam, all their sins. God is casting into the depth of the sea all of our sins. So therefore we go to a water source, a place where there is water, a well, a little pond, a river, a lake, whatever is close by, or the ocean, the sea. And we go to that body of water, and over there we say verses of mercy, of divine mercy, the 13 attributes of mercy. We evoke God's mercy, and in one of the psukim we say, which is related to the 13 attributes of mercy, is that Hashem will cast away, as a result of his mercy and his compassion, he will cast away all of our sins into the depth of the sea. Is the Tashlich to Rosh Hashanah. Now we need to understand what's the connection of Tashlich to Rosh Hashanah. Shaboyu binyan ha-malchus. In Rosh Hashanah, we know the main idea of Rosh Hashanah is to construct Hashem's kingship, which is all about the construction of the feminine attribute of Malchus. So what does that have to do with Dafka then going to cast away our sins? What's the connection? Simply, it's because if you want Hashem to build you, construct you, give you life, sustenance and everything, well, we need to be worthy for that. So we have to clean ourselves from our sins. We do tshuva, fine. But then maybe, perhaps a lot deeper than that. And you know the idea is as follows. I love this. I love how the Rebbe's father zooms into a piece of Gemara that no one would have any shaykhis to any connection whatsoever to Rosh Hashanah and Binyan HaMalchus. He finds a Gemara dealing with a story unrelated seeming to be, and he suddenly rips it open and reveals the inner intentions of the sages, the godly light that there is. Like this Gemara is studied in the spiritual Gan Edens and the higher realms above, and suddenly you're like, what? How in the world did this Gemara talk about this? The Gemara Masechtas Erevin. The Gemara is dealing with the concept of Erev. One of the types of it, we know there's various different Erevs we make. There's really three kinds of Erevs. I'm a little familiar with this because we just learned this in Rambam. Last week, we concluded this past week, halachas of Erev, and now we went on to the halachas of Yom Tov. Erev is three types of Erev. One type of Erev is called Aruvei Chatzeros. Aruvei Chatzeros have many different private residences living in one courtyard and have share a public space. So in order for them, they should be able to carry in that public space, which really, min Torah, biblically they would be permitted, but Shlomo HaMelech made a prohibition that people would think that you're allowed to carry also to a public domain, a real public domain, Rosh Hashanah, and that's a biblical prohibition. So in order to avoid that, he instituted a special thing that you need to do in order to create that space, enclosed area, but it's shared by the public, should be considered like a private domain, that you're allowed to carry that from your private homes into that place. And the way it works is that everybody chips in and kind of into one pot. That means everybody gives food. You give bread, everybody becomes partner in that bread, and then it's considered as if we're all one family. We're one residence. Instead of us being a residence of many, all the people become one residence and they're allowed to carry. That's one type of Erev. There's another kind of an Erev. The other Erev is called Erev Tafshilin. That's something we're familiar with because we do that all the time before Yom Tov. When Yom Tov falls out, before this year we don't have that, And we're not going to have that in the whole series of holidays right now, because we don't have a 3-day Yom Tov. But when that happens, I think last year or whatever, when Yom Tov, when you have to cook from Yom Tov to Shabbos, when Yom Tov comes up before Shabbos. So in order that we should be allowed to, because you're only allowed to cook on Yom Tov for Yom Tov, on the holiday for holiday. You're not allowed to cook for the Yom Tov for the next day. But if you make an Erev, and basically Erev also here means mixing. You're mixing Shabbos and Yom Tov. You're making that you're mixing your Shabbos food and your Yom Tov food to be considered one mix. And when you do that, it permits you to cook extra for Shabbos because the Shabbos and the Yom Tov have mixed together and become one. That's the idea of the Erev. So before Yom Tov, from Erev Yom Tov already, you take certain things that you cooked and you say this is mixing everything together, and you set this aside to eat this on the Shabbos. And then you're allowed to cook. That's called Erev Tashlich. But we're not dealing with those two Erevs. We're dealing now with the third concept of Erev. The third concept of Erev is the idea that the halacha is that we have something called Tchum Shabbos. Tchum Shabbos means, and Tchum Yom Tov, is that a person is not allowed to go out from within 2,000 cubits. I spoke about it last week, Shabbos, by the Kiddush. I was talking about the idea when you're coming on a ship and you decide that you want to be within 2,000 cubits already, but you fall asleep. That's why I spoke about a Shabbos by the Kiddush. But the idea is that wherever you are stationed, wherever a person is stationed at the beginning of Shabbos, that's your zone. And then you're allowed to walk 2,000 cubits from that place. But very important to remember that if it's in a city, so your 2,000 cubits begin only when the city ends. That's when the 2,000 cubits. So for most of us living over here, it wouldn't make a difference. You can walk miles and miles and miles and not go out of your tchum. When you start hitting, when you really go out and you start hitting empty land, which is hard already to find anywhere close to LA, when you start hitting there from that area and further, that's when you're only allowed to go 2,000 cubits. That's the halacha called Tchum Shabbos. Now what happens if someone wants to extend their walking? Let's say I'm out living in the countryside. I live in a barn house, and I have my 2,000 cubits around my house. No one lives there. It's an empty home, so that's my 2,000. But I'm allowed to walk 2,000 in each direction. 2,000 this way, 2,000 if I'm the center point. Now, if I want to change this whole, I can shift my space. It's an amazing idea. You can shift your space. And that means that you set that your core space should be somewhere else. And when your core space at the beginning of Shabbos is somewhere else, you've shifted your sphere of 2,000. Your sphere is really, if you think about it, your sphere is really 4,000 cubits. Because 2,000 in each direction, 4,000. It's a circle of 4,000 from the center point where you are. Okay, so what do you do? Let's say I need to go. This Shabbos, I want to go visit my friend. My friend lives 3,000 cubits to the east. But I'm only allowed to go 2,000. So what I want to do is, I want to set my setting for the beginning of Shabbos at 1,000 cubits away from my house. Let's say there's a tree over there, a marker, mile marker 38 on this road, on County Road 39, So you have this mile marker. I know there's a tree there, whatever. That's the place I'm intending to set my center for Shabbos. Now, one of the ways to set your center is that you walk there, and you're there when it becomes dark. And if you're actually there when it becomes dark, then that becomes your place for Shabbos. And what's that going to do is that you're allowed to walk from that spot, from 1,000 cubits to the east, you'll be allowed to walk 2,000 cubits further east, which includes your friend's house, and 1,000 past that. Then you're allowed to walk from that spot back to your house, because it's still 1,000. You're going to be allowed to walk 1,000 cubits to the west. You shifted your center 1,000 cubits to the east over. That's the idea of making it up. So you can do it by either going there at the beginning of Shabbos, and you only have to stay there as long until it gets dark. Once it's dark, you can come back home. Now, what if you don't want to go there during the dark? You're afraid, or you don't want the mosquitoes are out during that time. They'll bite you. You don't want to be out that time. But you want to set. So Chachamim made an interesting thing. We say that we as humans are deeply connected to our food. Where our food is, that's where we are. So if you take a significant amount of food and you put it in that place, you go and you put your salami sandwich over there. So now you set your place in that place where your food is. That becomes your center space. And even if you're home at the beginning of Shabbos, you did not acquire your resting space here. Your resting space is over there at 1,000 cubits. And again, you're going to be limiting your distance to the west, but you're going to be increasing your distance to the east, because that's what you wanted. That's the idea of an Erev. So the Gemara says a story like this. Tana, the Gemara says, Maise bekalosai shel Reb Oishia, the daughter-in-law of Rabbi Oishia. Oishia is one of the sages. He has a daughter-in-law. Shaholcha lebeis hamirchetz. She went to the bathhouse. And the bathhouse was outside of the city. Not only was it outside the city, it was more than 2,000 cubits away from the city. It was actually 3,000 cubits from the city. She went there Erev Shabbos, not planning to stay there. She went there on Erev Shabbos, for what purpose? To bathe. So she was there. Meanwhile, it got dark. So what happened is at the beginning of Shabbos, she is now 3,000 cubits away from the city. And that's now becomes her center spot. She's only allowed to walk 2,000 cubits back. She's 1,000 cubits. She'll have to stop 1,000 cubits away from the city. She'll remain stranded at night outside of the Tchum Shabbos. She's stuck. So what happened? She had a very good mother-in-law. So her mother-in-law was thinking about her. Her mother-in-law knew that somehow she got stuck and she stayed there. And her mother-in-law, so what did her mother-in-law do? Her mother-in-law created an Eruv for her. Her mother-in-law, what she did was, she went 1,000 cubits or 1,500 cubits or sent it with someone, a salami sandwich, 1,000 cubits away towards that way. So what's going to happen is, or maybe, within the distance, let's say 1,500, so it's within 2,000 from that spot. She said, this is for my daughter-in-law, I am now setting this Erev for her. So now what happens is, her center is not now at the bathhouse, which is 3,000 cubits. Her center is 1,500 cubits in between. That means she'll be allowed to come back into the city and back to her house. That's what her mother-in-law did. Okay. Well, but someone was questioning if this is good. Why? Because it wasn't the daughter-in-law that did it. She acquired her space. It was someone did it on her behalf. I'll be pashtus. That's the question. So it came before they asked the question for Rabbi Chia. Maybe what happened was she walked back, and there was a tumult. She asked, "Am I allowed to continue?" And the people were there coming to greet her. They were maybe can walk pretty close. Because sometimes you can be. It's interesting. Two people can be almost at the same spot. I can walk back. You can't, because this is still within my 2,000, and maybe you're not. So maybe that. So she said, go ask a shayla from the rabbi. Maybe she was very frum. She wasn't sure if her mother-in-law's Erev is going to help her. So they sent the question to Reb Chia. And Reb Chia said, sorry, you can't help her. It's not a good Erev. The Asar. The rabbi didn't help us out over here. The rabbi prohibited the Erev. Amalei Rabbi Yishmael beRabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Yishmael, the son of Rabbi Yossi, said to Reb Chia, Bavloi, you Babylonian, Kol kach ato machmer be'erevin? You're such a machmer on Erev? On Erevin, we know we're supposed to be mekel. Kach Omar Abba, this is what my father told me. Kol sheyesh lach lahakol, and simply who is his father? His father is Rabbi Yossi. He's Rabbi Shmuel, the son of Rabbi Yossi. So his father, this is what Rabbi Yossi taught, that Kol ma sheyesh lach lahakol be'erevin hakel. Whatever in Erev you can make things lighter, lenient, you should, because Erevin is only the Rabbanan. It's a rabbinic prohibition to walk more than 2,000 cubits. So therefore, we're supposed to be lenient. So why are you being so strict? Poor girl. You're letting this lady out there on the street, out in the field, alone. Maskanas HaGemarisha. But then the Gemara is debating, what was the reason why Reb Chia didn't let? What was his reasoning? What was wrong? What was the problem with this Erev? What was faulty with the Erev? The Gemara has two possibilities. One possibility the Gemara says is, maybe the problem is that it wasn't her food. The food has to be your food. It's your food, if the food belongs to you, and then you're somech on where your food is. It's to be your food. Maybe the mother-in-law used not her daughter-in-law's food. She used her own food, her own bread that she put over there, her own salami. And because it wasn't now what she could have done is, she could have been zocheh to her daughter-in-law. She could have said, it's mine, but I am, even without her knowing, I am giving you a gift, the salami sandwich, it should be yours, but she didn't do that. So she cared very much for her daughter-in-law, but she missed one thing. She sent the food which belonged to her instead of her daughter-in-law, and she forgot to say, ask someone, pick it up, I'm giving this to a schus, you be kind of for so-and-so, this will be hers now, even though she doesn't know about it. That's one possibility why it doesn't work. Because she wasn't, in order for it to be kosher, you have to be zoiche it to her, and she wasn't mezaka her with that food. Second possibility, the Gemara says, maybe she used her daughter-in-law food. She didn't even use it. It wasn't her food. So it would have been kosher. The problem why it's not kosher is because the daughter-in-law didn't know about this Erev. Even if it's your food, the fact that you're oblivious of it, I can't make an Erev. I can make an Erev on your behalf if you know about it. But if you don't know about it, how are you supposed to? So the Gemara's conclusion is that the problem was not that she didn't know about it. An Erev that you don't know about is still good. Someone can make an Erev on behalf of someone, especially if you're happy about it afterwards. If you're happy about it, you say, oh good, oh, very good, you did that for me. It's a good Erev. The problem, however, was the mother-in-law didn't use, the reason Reb Chia didn't allow it, because the mother-in-law used the wrong food. She used her food and she forgot to give it to make it hers. That's the Maskanas HaGemara. That's the meaning, the conclusion. The mother-in-law used her own food, and she wasn't zeicha for her daughter, Ayin Shah. Very good. What does this have to do with Rosh Hashanah? What does this do with the Erev? I'm sorry, what does that have to do with Tashlich? So hear this amazing thing. The Rebbe is going to build up that the Rebbe's father, that this daughter-in-law, she is Malchus. She's the daughter-in-law, she's the Shechina, she's Malchus. And when she's going to the bathhouse to wash, that's Tashlich. And it's on Rosh Hashanah, meaning it's you're going to connect it to the idea of Rosh Hashanah, of going in the end of Rosh Hashanah to wash off. On Erev Shabbos is the idea of throwing the Averis, throwing the Klippas into there where they belong. And he's going to connect it. That's why so she went out of the city, because it says by Tashlich we go out of the city. Today we can't. It's in the minhag was that we would go out of the cities. Yoitzen miha'ir, we'd go outside to cast away the sins. But in order to get to that, we need to develop the whole theme. What's this daughter-in-law? Why is she the daughter-in-law of Rabbi Oishia? Who is her mother-in-law? What's the whole concept with an Erev over here? What's the problem? The whole situation. Every detail of detail is going to be examined. So let's see. This daughter-in-law of Rabbi Oishia, Roimeis al Malchus. This is an indication. This is symbolizing feminine attribute, Malchus. But not Stam Malchus. Malchus, we know Malchus is the final Sphira. So Malchus is the last divine attribute, receiving from the higher attributes from above. She's the vessel, she's the container, but she's also shining her light down below, and she's the source of the creation. That's why Malchus is sometimes called Zanav. She's the tail to the lion. She's also the head to the foxes. We say, don't be a head to a fox, be the tail to the lion. So she's the end of the divine, and she's the source of creation. More in particular, it says that the Shechina has two phases. there is one level of the Shekhinah where the Shekhinah is, the higher level of the Shekhinah is when she's receiving from above and attached, and she's in a world that's purely godly, and then she's in a very good space. But then, in addition to her, she has to descend to create the world, to sustain the world, and more particular, the Shekhinah goes down into the world, vests herself, in order to fix the creation. She goes down, like we say, the Shekhinah goes down during the 6 days of the week. Malchus, the Shekhinah, descends into the creation to do a birur, to do a fixing of the world. And which is the idea of extracting sparks of holiness that needs to be extracted. It's the Shekhinah that goes down. This is the concept of our neshamas, for instance, are all pieces of the Shekhinah that come into this world, into bodies, come into the world, and we know that when we come down here, it's not a safe zone. We can be attacked by all kinds of klippas that try to rip us apart. Okay, so this is the concept. So when we say the daughter-in-law of Rabbi Yoshia is Malchus, it's not plain Malchus. It's Malchus when she's vulnerable, because she's going down into the lower 3 worlds. What are the lower 3 worlds? The lower 3 worlds are dangerous places, because in the lower 3 worlds there's already klippa. In Atzilus, in the world of emanation, it's purely godly, there's no klippa there. But in the lower 3 worlds, there's klippa. So that's what he's saying. Kishemistateres bebriya. When she hides, she gets concealed in the world of Bria. Sham dafka nasis, and that's why she's called Kala. Kala comes from the word longing. Miloshin kiloyon. Kiloyon is expiring. Kol sanafshi. When is there longing? When you're distant. When you're close, you don't expire. 2 people that love each other and they're very close to each other all the time, they don't feel a longing. So you miss each other. It's like you say, absence causes the heart to fond, to want, to love, to yearning. So when is the Shekhinah called Kala? When she becomes separated from her husband, from the higher attributes, from the masculine side of God. She goes into the world. She feels very stuck and overwhelmed by the darkness, the constrictions, the narrow-mindedness of the world, and she wants to go back to truth, right, to the higher realm. That's when she's called Kala. She's rising in a state of expiration, the tshuka, and longing, lamayla, like David HaMelech says. When David HaMelech was in the Midbar, what does he say? Tzama nafshi l'Elokim, I'm thirsting for God. Dafka b'midbar Yehuda, David HaMelech is the Shekhinah, Malchus. When you're far, you're crying, you want to get close. B'chinas kol sa nafshi, I'm expiring. As it's explained in Likutei Torah from the Alter Rebbe, in his explanation on Shchoirani, where it says, the Shekhinah says, I am dark, that's referring to Malchus when she's down, when the Jewish people are in exile, during the weekdays. It's all when we're enmeshed in the Klippas, when we're fighting the Klippas, we long for God. And that level, when the Shekhinah is in this state, down and low, she's called a rose, Shoshana. That's why the sign of love and the longing and the Kala is all the roses. Shoshana is the Shekhinah when she is hidden in Bria Yetzirah and Asiyah. She's low, she's removed, she's invested in the world to fix it, to create it. The Shekhinah during the time of exile, that idea. That's all called Shoshana. Where do we see that? He says the word Shoshana is the exact gematria of Esther. We know that all these female characters of the Tanakh, of Scripture, are all Malchus. Sarah is Malchus, Rivka is Malchus, Leah and Rachel. Okay, Leah is something associated with Bina, but also different dimensions in Malchus. Devorah Hanaviyah, Malchus. Miriam is Malchus. Shoshana is Malchus. They're all Malchus. I'm sorry, Esther is Malchus. All Malchus. Chana is Malchus. But they're all different. Malchus has many spheres, many elements to it. They all represent different elements in Malchus. Esther, Hamalka, she was in the time of exile. She's representing Esther as the Jewish people during the time Malashana Asti, when Hashem is hidden. So Esther is also Esther comes from the word in Aramaic Astahar, which means the moon. The moon shines at night. In the darkness. So Esther is darkness. Shoshana is the exact gematria of Esther. let's see, Esther is 661. 661 is Esther. Take a look at Shoshana. 2 shins are 600. Nun is 50. Hey and Vav, 61. Okay? And by the way, I did all the math. That's what takes me a little longer. I was sitting here calculating all these things. So it's 661, which is Esther and Shoshana. And what's Esther? Why is she called Esther? Because when the Shechina, Shechina is Hashem. Hashem's investment in this world. But we don't see God. That's the idea of the Shechina is concealed. Esther, she's concealed. Now, in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, God was visible in this world. In time when Mashiach will come, be visible in this world. And that's the idea that the Shechina is mistateres. She is concealed. Bibiyah in Bria, Tzir, Natzir. And in many ways, she can't express herself. She's sustaining everything, creating everything, but she can't show that she's the boss. Sometimes gets taken advantage of, right? In Bria, there's all kinds of klipos. From Bria and down. Bria, Yetzirah, and of course in the world of Asiya, it's full of klipos in our physical world. Which isn't the case in Atzilus, la yigrach harav, there's no evil. So in a sense, we can say like this. Shoshana, which is Esther, which is Malchus, which is the Kalasai Shal Rabbi Shia, which is this daughter-in-law of Rabbi Shia, she needs to be protected because she's vulnerable to all kinds of dangerous creatures that are here roaming around in these lower worlds. Fine. Kila Bria, now I was explaining why is Bria a place with klippas. Kila Bria naflu hamalachim detohu. Where's the source of all dark stuff in creation? How does from a perfectly good God, a perfectly holy, giving, benevolent God, turn out such dark entities in this world? Monsters and killers and vicious entities and forces of extreme evil. How does that happen? So that's the so Kabbalah Chassidus has the explanation that this is because obviously Hashem wanted us, but how did it happen physically? How did it come about? If the material that Hashem used to create is Himself, and He's infinitely good, so there is that concept of Shviras HaKelim, the shattering of the vessels. That creation came about through some kind. That creation came about through some kind of a collapse, through some kind of a crash. Something crashed. And certain energies became distorted. Obviously, that was with divine intention. That collapsed world is called the world of Tohu. So it says like this. When that world collapsed, the debris from that world, from the world of Tohu, the shattered vessels from that very, very intense, high, godly world exploded. And they end up later, once creation happens, they emerge, these pieces, so to speak, these shattered energies that are misguided and misdirected, end up in the 3 lower worlds, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya, and that's the source of all the klippas that there are. Atzilus is not impacted by Shviras HaKelim. Atzilus is a world that doesn't have any debris from that world. Atzilus is a perfectly holy, godly, attached world. There's no evil there. But the problem is, Atzilus, because it belongs to the world of Tikkun, which the world of Tikkun is a world which is lacking the intensity. So really, because it was, after Hashem allowed the energy that exploded, He restrained Himself and allowed a far lesser light to go out, and that started creating a creation that did not explode, a creation that is tikkun, that is rectified, that is connected. Now, the world of tikkun, the chisaron that the world of tikkun has is, on one hand, it's connected, on the other hand, it's already a much more reduced light. So tikkun is connected, Atzilus is connected, Bria, Tzir, and Asiya is a mess. But in that mess, we have the debris of the world of Tohu. That's why we say it is so important to go mine. We go down, a soul is a miner. That's what when I'm not a miner, I mean to say a miner, not a young child. Someone who goes out into a mine to mine for gold. So our souls go down into this deep, deep place, mining for all the sparks of holiness that are here. Okay. But where did those sparks fall? Into the worlds of Bria, Yetzir, and Asir. So now when Malchus goes down, the Shechina, which is part of Atzilus, part of the rectified world, but she goes down to mine for those sparks of holiness, to rectify the three lower worlds, and to elevate the sparks. She's going to dangerous territory. Okay? Bria, Naflu Amalachim the Tohu, because in Bria is where the kings of the world of Tohu fell. Shemeisu ki yadu, as it is known. Zehu, and that's the reason of the idea. Take a look at a rose. A rose is surrounded by thorns. Shahashayshana hu bein achaychem. That's why a rose, which represents the Shechina, is filled with thorns. And the Zohar says that the thorns, as she's growing, poke the rose. And that's the idea that the Jewish people, our souls, get poked in this world. The Klippas are constantly poking us. Here they poke us by the Crusaders. Here they poke us by the Inquisition. They injure us and bleed us. And we get poked also by all the dark, sinful elements that there are in this world that want to get us, chas v'shalom, to do an Avera. This is all this poking that it's hurting the neshama, it's hurting the Shekhinah, it's hurting we're living in a very, very dangerous world. Hasoivivim, they surround her, v'oiktzem oisa, and they poke her. So in order, God can't allow the neshama to be in such danger. God can't allow the Shekhinah to be, God forbid, in a state where they can destroy her. So Hashem has to provide protection. That's why this daughter-in-law, this Kala, the longing, the Shekhinah in this state, she's the daughter-in-law of Rabbi Oishia. Oishia comes from the word Yeshua. Yeshua means salvation. When someone is in trouble, you send salvation. God has to send down his salvation powers to protect the neshama when she is wandering amongst the klippas. So what is that protection? She is the kala of Rabbi Oishia. Oishia means Lashon Yeshua. Oishia comes from the word Yeshua. V'hu. And you can see that. When you look at a rose, there are 5 leaves at the bottom that surround the rose. The green leaves, tough leaves. So these leaves are not they're not the leaves of a rose, they're green leaves. They have sharp edges a little bit. And they protect the rose from the thorns that are growing around it that want to poke the rose. They're being protected by these leaves. These are the 5 intense leaves. That the rose sits upon these 5 leaves. 5 gevurais. God surrounds the Shekhinah with 5 bodyguards. And these powerful 5 bodyguards are very, 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 very serious bodyguards. No one messes with them. And they keep the Shekhinah, and so to speak, every single one of us, as parts of the Shekhinah, protected when we go into the world, when we get more involved, like during the weekday, or during the time when the Neshama goes into the body, or during the time when the Jewish people are in exile. All this idea is there's these bodyguards. So where do we see this idea? That the Shekhinah sits upon these 5 powers of salvation bodyguards. Well, it says so in the Pasuk. Kois Yeshuais Esa. David HaMelech speaks about himself. Now, David HaMelech is also that rose. He's a feminine soul. He's the soul. And he says, Kois Yeshuais, the cup of salvation. Now, the cup is also a reference to Malchus. Malchus is called a cup because Malchus receives the energy from all the sphirot. She's the cup. She's a female. She's the keli. She's the vessel. She receives the flow of godly light into her and energizes the creation. The word kais, by the way, doesn't say it over here. Kais is gematria 86. Samachaf, Vav, 86. 86 is Gematria Elokim, which we know is the name of Malchus. Malchus is Shem Elokim, like we're going to see soon. So Elokim is the Shechina, which is Malchus. That's the cup. When we bench, we're filling the cup up with wine. That means we're drawing this tremendous bracha down into Malchus, into Shechina, into the world. We're thanking God. That's why in the end of benching, we're thanking God for all the bountiful blessing He gave us. He gave us to eat. So that's like the filled Malchus. We're taking a cup, which is Malchus. We're filling it with wine. And it's called a cup full of blessing. But it says that the Kais Yeshua is, you can't leave it on the table. Kais, the cup, you can't leave it. Kais Shal Bracha, you can't leave it on the table. You have to lift it up. You have to lift it up in your palm, and you have to surround it with 5 fingers. See? So you're holding the cup. According to Kabbalah, it says that a becher, a cup, a becher, a cup for Kiddush, and this should not really have a leg. So that you can take the cup itself, the part that's receiving the wine, put it on the palm of your hand, and hold it with the 5 fingers like this. These 5 fingers are these 5 bodyguards. Kais Yeshuais. And that's why David HaMelech, how does he call them? The cup, Yeshuais, of Yeshua. Yeshua is the underlying 5 leaves that are holding the Shekhinah, protecting the Shekhinah. These are the 5 bodyguards. The 5 leaves around the rose, holding it. Soon we're going to see if they're 5 gevurais, why are they the fingers on the right hand? You're supposed to hold kosher bracha on the right hand. They should be the 5 fingers on the left hand, because the left is gevura and the right is chesed. So it should have been really, we should hold the cup in the left hand. We don't do that. We hold it in the right hand. We'll see that. He'll get to that later. But in any case, now, by the way, this is such an important idea that the opening passage in the entire book of Zohar opens up with this idea. Cool. This idea that that Knesset Yisroel, the Jewish people, the Shekhinah, needs to be protected with these 5 bodyguards, security, heavy security. It's the first, literally the first passage of Zohar. Pasach, Rebbe Lazar Pasach. This is how Zohar begins. In the introduction to the book of Zohar, Rebbe Lazar Pasach, Ksiv, Kishoshana bein acholchim. Like a rose amongst the thorns. Man Shoshana. Who is the rose? The Knesset Yisroel. That's the ensemble of Israel, which we know is Shechina, because she contains within it all of our souls. Ma Shoshana the iu bein achoichem. Just like a Shoshana that's amongst the thorns. Ispai sumik v'chivar has red and white. There's a white rose and red rose. Oif Knesset Yisroel, or maybe it's one rose that's partially white and red. I'm not exactly sure. Oif Knesset Yisroel ispa din v'rachamim. Also Malchus has din, which is red, and rachamim and mercy. Ma sheshana ispe tlei sa'alin, just like a rose has 13 petals. Oif Knesset Yisroel. Okay, the 13 petals of the rose, simply when you look at our rose, there's more than 13 petals. Question is, if the rose that the Zohar is talking about is what we call a rose today, there is different things. If you take a look, there's another word for rose in Hebrew, which is vered. Vered. So it could be that the roses that we know are vered, and I think in certain places they translate Shoshana as a different flower, not even the rose. But also, in any case, I'm not exactly sure. I always was bothered by this. The 13 petals of a rose. Buy roses for Shabbos, and you'll count the petals. There's more than 13 petals. So what does it mean, 13 petals of the rose? I don't know. Oif Knesset Yisrael is beitles, and it's not. And you can't say, well, it was a mistake that the sage Chas v'Shalom. First of all, sages don't make any mistakes, but it's not even like a deep scientific secret. Anybody could have taken a rose home and counted the petals. So what does it mean? Knesset Yisrael is beitles mechilin derachim. It's the 13 attributes of mercy. We'll soon speak that need to be there to watch over Malchus. The Sachrin law mikol sitro, that watcher from all sides. Sachrin law doesn't mean they watch her; they surround her from all sides. Oifelikim dahacha. So I'm going to share with you the secret in a minute. The secret of the next piece. It's really cool. No, let's share the secret already now. It's really cool. You're going to hear about it later, but it's unbelievable. In the beginning of Bereshis, where do we reach? Where do we reach Malchus? Where do we reach Shechina, Malchus? We reach Shechina immediately. The Shechina appears immediately, because creation is all an act of Malchus. So, in which word? Bereshis bara Elokim. I told you earlier, Elokim is 86, which is what did it say? Elokim is Malchus. That's what. Gematria Kais, fine. Elokim is Gematria Hateva, Malchus, the source of creation, nature, fine. Elokim is Malchus. Immediately when Malchus appears as the name of Elokim, so the Zohar says, you have the 13 petals of the rose surrounding it. What are the 13 petals? Watch this. The name Elokim is mentioned 32 times in the story of creation, the name Elokim. This is the first time it's mentioned. After the first time, the next time it's going to be mentioned is going to be in the third pasuk, Vayomer Elokim Yehi Or, let there be light. So the Zohar says, if you count the words between the first Elokim and the second Elokim, you get 13 words. Let's do it. Es, Hashamayim, the Es, Haaretz. V'haaretz, Hoisa, Tohu, Vavohu, V'choshech, Al, Penei, Tohom, V'ruach. Yeah, the next word is V'ruach Elokim. I made a mistake. It's not Vayomer Elokim Yehi Or, it's in the Pasuk Beis, V'ruach Elokim. So it's 13 words between these two Elokims. Because these are the 13 words, we'll soon see this, the deepest secrets involved in this. The 13 words are the 13 petals of the rose that are surrounding Malchus, the Shechina, 13 attributes of mercy. Think about it. Every single one of us, as being the Shechina, where God's mercy is so around us, attached like 13 petals. Sometimes we forget that. Now, however, we spoke, that in addition to the petals, there's also the 5 thicker, tougher leaves that serve as a base under the rose. Well, where do they come from? So that, the Zohar says, that's after the second time it mentions Elokim, right after it's Veruach Elokim. Between the second mention of Elokim and the third mention of Elokim, you have 5 words. Mirachefes, Al Penei Hamayim, Vayomer. Next word is Vayomer Elokim. So Mirachefes, Al Penei Hamayim, Vayomer. These are the 5 words. These are the 5 security forces, 5 powers of Gevura that are watching the Shechina, watching Malchus, watching each and every one of us, that we don't get bruised and beaten up during life. So we should be able to make it through. Okay, so let's read it in the Zohar. The Zohar says like this: As soon as it's mentioned, Apik Tleiser Tevin, she emanates 13 words, L'sachra, to surround the Knesset Yisroel, to surround Knesset Yisroel and Natrala, and to shield her. Lebasar, the Zohar continues, Itker Zimna Achara, it's mentioned Elokim a second time. Amai Itker Zimna Achara, why is she mentioned now a second time? Begin La'afka, in order to bring out Chomesh Alen Takifin, 5 intense leaves, the Sachrin L'Sheshana, that are now surrounding the rose. The Inon Chomesh, hear this, and these 5, Ikrin Yeshuais. What are we learning over here? They're called Yeshuais. The Inon Chomesh Tarin, and these are 5 gates. Val Razadana, this secret ksiv, Kois Yeshuais, the Kois, which is Malchus, Kois Yeshuais Esa, da Koishal Bracha. This is the cup of blessing that we make after benching. It's the cup that receives the blessing, that's Malchus, but we want to protect her. Koishal Bracha Itzrich Le Lemeheve, the cup of blessing needs to be Al Chomesh Etzba'in, on 5 fingers, v'lo yatir, and not more than 5. 5 fingers. You're not supposed to hold it with 2 hands, on one, on that's it. Kegavno de sheishana, just like a rose, the yosva al chamish alen takifin, that sits on these 5 things, dugma de chamish etzboin, which is simpler. It's basically God's. Now here's the thing. You have the 13 attributes of mercy surrounding you, and then you have God's 5 fingers of gevura protecting you, every neshama. And that's where the Shoshana do'ui koishal bracha, melekim tinyana, from the second elokim, ad elokim tlisa, to the third elokim, chamesh tevin, 5 words. Okay. This is the Zohar. So now we go back inside over here. So now it makes no sense. Suddenly we find Kalosai, this bride, the daughter-in-law of Rabbi Yoshia. It means that she's connected. She's the Shechina. She's connecting to, we'll soon see why he's her father-in-law. That we'll get to soon. But so far, she gets this power that protects her, that shields her, these 5 fingers, these 5 Yeshuos that are there helping her out. That's why she's the Kala, the daughter-in-law. The 5 Gevuros. These are the 5 intense, these 5 strong leaves. That savor minaklipas. These are her shield, her armor, her bulletproof vest, kind of. Now, Shanasu, now where did the klipas, these klipas that are going to attack her, are in the world of Bria, Yetzir, and Asiya, because we said before, where did the klipas come from? From the shattered vessels. Shanasu ma shvira de tohu, which they came about because of the shattered world of the world of tohu. Vahainu. That's why. Where is it indicated these five leaves? Well, where do you find the source in the Torah where these 5 leaves are? These 5 powerful security guards. Where are they from? You said the 5 words that are from the second Elokim to the third Elokim. Which words are they? Merachefes al penei hamayim vayomer. Okay, in Bereshis. The word merachefes, which means hovering. It says Veruach Elokim, and the Spirit of God, merachefes was hovering al penei hamayim. And in Kabbalah it says that the word merachefes, if you put the word together, if you split the word merachefes, you get the word Reish Pei Ches Mace. Rapach Mace. 288 sparks died. That's the Shviras HaKelim, the shattering in the vessels of the world of Tohu. When they shattered, according to the mystical number, they fell as 288 super sparks that later got sub-splintered into billions and gazillions of sparks, which make their way into every aspect of creation, and which we need to encounter in order to fix it and to elevate it. Oh, so what do you see? That in the word merachefes, which that's where the klipas start, those 5 words also provide the guard from the klipas, because that's where you need the guard. How can you have the same word merachefes indicating on the shattered sparks, which is the source of the klipas, and that itself should be one of the 5? So I was thinking about it. How can they both be the same? If merachefes, reish pechein mes, this allows for the klipas to exist, how can the merachefes be the bodyguard? So I'm thinking it's very simple. If you need bodyguards when you're going into a really, really scary situation, you want to get bodyguards from amongst the guys out there, because they know, guys who go to jail, they got to get friends with the big bullies in jail, and if you become friends with them, then they'll protect you. All right? That's the guys you want to know. These are the guys you want on your side. So, Hainu ma shahei alen takifin. These are from the 5 alen takifin. No, we're holding over here. Nirmazim are indicated by hey tevis in the 5 words Shemin Shem Elokim HaBeis from the second Shem Elokim at Shem Elokim HaGimel to the third name of Elokim. K'mo b'Zohar Sham as stated in Zohar. Shehem HaTevis, which they are the words Mirachefes al Pnei Hamayim Vayomer. These are the 5 words. Okay. Now, I'm going to come back in a few moments to these, to explaining what it has to do with the Rebbe now. The Rebbe's father is now going to continue and explain if these are 5 powers of security, 5 powerful gevuras that protect Malchus, how come they are divided? 4 of the words are in one pasuk, and 1 of the words is in the next pasuk. So there must be that there is a split between these 5, and they split in a manner of 4 and 1. So that we're going to see that because that's a parenthetical, and Yaakov puts it in a parentheses. Let's skip it for a moment so that we don't lose what we're learning now. We'll come back in a few minutes. Mispar hey tevis halalu. So I'm going down. I'm going now, skipping a bunch of lines. And I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines from the bottom. The line begins with the word mispar. So if you look at these 5, you take these 5 words. What are the 5 words? Merachefes al Pnei Hamayim Vayomer. And you do the gematria of these 5 words. Halaluhem elef shin chaf. It's 1320. That's the gematria. And don't worry, you don't have to do it because I did it. I was actually off by 20, and I found where my mistake was. In any case, it's 1,320. 1320. Why? What's the significance of that number? Significance of that number is Hainu klolis hagavurais v'hadinim. Since these are 5 powerful forces that of gvura, because you need to have some really tough guys protecting. So this is the concentration of the entire realm of gevura. God gives us every power of gevura to protect. He doesn't leave any measure of security not there for his bride or for his shechina that's going to go down into the dark place. So he secures her with every bit of gevura that there is. So the sum total of all the gevura, all this full power of gevura, is 1,320. Why? How do you get that number? Shehem elef shin chaf, which the number of all of gevura is 1,320. How do you get that number 1320? Acharayim de Elokim. So it's like this. He's going to split. First, he's going to give you 1,000, and then he's going to give you the 320. The 1,000 comes from when you take. We know that the word Elokim is the word that has to do with Midas Hadin, the name of. Before we associate it with Malchus, because Malchus has a lot of dinim to her. She has a lot of judgments, which we're not going to get. That's not the discussion for now. But in addition to that, Elokim represents Gevura, the power of Elokim means a judge, a force, power, din. Now, every word, you can do the gematria of the word, which is 86, but then there is also the hidden letters that we discussed many times. The miloi. The miloi are the hidden letters that you don't see. So, for instance, an aleph, gematria of aleph is 1. But if you take the hidden letters, then the gematria of an aleph is 111. Because aleph lamed pei. So aleph lamed pei is 111. And lamed, for instance, is either 30. Elokim, it's 30. But if you add the mem dalet, it's 74. Lamed, 74. Right? Got it? That's miloi. That's called miloi. Now, so we take Elokim and we add the miloi. Now, in Elokim itself, In the Miloy of Elokim, just like with Yud Kei Vav Kei, which we always discuss, the Miloy of Yud Kei Vav Kei, the hidden letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei, could be pronounced, since there's Hey in Yud Kei Vav Kei. The Heys could either, you can fill them with a Yud, Hey, you can fill them with an Aleph, you can fill them with a Hey. So the same as every place, and that will depend, that will make the Yud Kei Vav Kei either, remember we spoke so many times, 45, 63, 72, depends how you, 52, depends how you fill the Miloi. So too, and the main difference is in the Hey. Do you fill the Hey with a Yud, do you fill it with, so in Elokim you also have a Hey. Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yud, Mem. So in Elokim itself, the one that we're going to be using now is the Hey, Hey. Why? Because when you fill Elokim with an Aleph, Aleph represents Alufay Shel Olam, the infinite light, or Ein Sof. Aleph is Keter, the crown, Pele. That's why it's so powerful. We're coming through a year that starts with Pei. Pei is Tafshin Pei. Pei is Pele, wonder. It's the infinite light. That's the source of infinite kindness. So if you fill the name Elokim and the Hey has an Aleph, it's not such a tough Elokim. It's sweetened with the Aleph. If you fill it with a Yud, Yud as well is also a sweetening of judgments. Because Yud is the energy of Chachma. Yud is Chachma. And Chachma is on the right side, which is the source of, generally, we're going to speak about it soon, source of Chesed. So filling it with the Yud is much sweeter. If you're filling the Hey with Hey, Hey is Bina. Yud is Chachma, Hey is Bina. Or Malchus. Which both of them are Gevura. So within the name Elokim, when the Hey is Hey, Hey, it's Gevura of Gevura. It's intense. Now to make it even more intense, Gevuras, you have to constrict the light even more, constrict it and make it tighter and more intense. That comes by a form of gematria which is called Achoirayim, the back of Elokim. The front of Elokim is not so harsh. The back of Elokim is really, really intense. It's like catching a nervous person on a bad day. That's the idea. Elokim is nervous, but the backside is the back of it. It's very intense. So, how do you do gematria of Acharayim? So the way you do gematria of Acharayim is you don't just make Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yud, Mem in instance. You take the letter and you create a pyramid. You put the Aleph first on the top, Aleph. And in this case, we're spelling the Aleph out. So you're writing Aleph, Lamed, Pei. Beneath it, you bring the Aleph again and you put Aleph, Lamed. You spell out the Lamed. Aleph, Lamed. Lamed, Mem, Dalet. Then you go Aleph, Lamed, Hey. The first letter you're going to put each time. The second time, you keep on adding another letter, but you keep on, the numbers have to be added up from the system. So you start with, in any word, you're going to make Acharayim. Acharayim from Yud Kei Vav Kei also do that way. You'll do the Yud, then they'll do the Yud and the Hey, then they'll do the Yud and the Hey and the Vav, and then the Yud and the Hey and the Vav. That's how you do it. So Aleph, Aleph Lamed, Aleph Lamed Hey, Aleph Lamed Hey Yud, Aleph Lamed Hey Yud Mem. But in every single time, you spell out all the letters. And the Hey is Hey Hey. So when you do that, it comes out exactly 1,001. And that's okay, because one is always, in gematria, one always means with the kolel. It's 1,001, the number is 1,000. What does that show you? That the number 1,000, as it is that Gevura, in this sense, because again, we took the name of God of Gevura, we found its most extreme version, we made it most extreme because we got the back of it. And what do you get? You get 1,000. That's the 1,000 powers of Gevura that's associated. Then there is another thing called Shin Chav. They are the Shin Chav Dinim. There is a very known well thing that Shach, always mentioned, Shach, Shin Chav Dinim. It's always discussed that whenever there's harsh judgments associated to that number, 320. Why? Because how many powers of Gevura are there? There's 5 powers of Gevura. 5 fingers of the left hand. 5 powers of Gevura. The 5 Gevuras are associated with Gevura Shebe Chesed, Gevura Shebe Gevura, Gevura Shebe Teferes, Gevura Shebe Netzach, and Gevura Shebe Hod. These are the 5 Gevuras. So you have 5 Gevura. Now Gevura is the same concept of din. But I think din is a harsher expression than Gevura. Din means that we don't want there should be dinim on someone, judgments on someone. Din is Gematria 64. Dalid Yud Nun is 64. 64 times 5, 5 times din, history. Let me get my history over here. I did all these calculations. I won't go back so far. That was silly. I just did a silly thing. I ruined something. Okay. 64 times, what did I say? 5 equals 320. Okay, we can trust it. So, 5 times din is 320. Elokim, in its harshest form, 1,000. Combine them together, 1320. So 1320 is the whole package of dinim. So what's Gematria 1320? Mir, what did we say? The 5 words which represent the 5 powers of din that protect the Shechina. And it's which 5 words? Mirachefes al pnei hamayim vayomer. That's what he's saying. The Misprei tevis alalu elef shem chaf hainu klolis agvuras vadinim shem elef shem chaf acharayim de Elokim dahahein. The back of Elokim using the mythology, using the hay. She'oila elef, which comes up to be 1,000. Im hey pamim din, with 5 times the word din, she'oila shin chaf, which comes out to be 320. V'ayin bereshima amasa de beirebi ki have a mishta beloshen chachma beinyan shar mishpat b'shar miskan ayin shah. Look in a different discussion that the Rebbe says, and in another one of my writings, the Rebbe's father says, where I discussed explaining a passage of Talmud relating to this idea. Shebechlal, in general, what is this? These 5 dinim and the name. Oh, it's interesting. This 1320, how do you get it? From 5 times the word din, and from the name of Elokim. As you make the... but think about it. In the name Elokim, you have 5 letters. Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yud, Mem. So Elokim also indicates 5 gevurais. Okay? Shebechlal, Hema, Hey, gevurais. These are the 5 gevurais. Vehema, Moishiyim, Oisa. Now, if you want to enlist good security, you get these 5 powers, because no one's going to mess with them. HaMashiach Moisa, Mim Mirachefes, from the power of Mirachefes. What's Mirachefes? Shemirachefes roimes ala malachim detoyu. We said earlier, Mirachefes is the source of the klippas. Reish Peiches Mace. It's the 288 sparks that have fallen, and therefore it energizes the powers of klippa. You need to protect from these shattered forces. Shemesu v'naflu lebriya, they fell down into the world of Bria, biyachadim reish peiches netzutzin, together with the 288 sparks. The word Reish Peches 288 that died, Kidu as it is known. From there is where the sediments were created and the klipas. So now you have the 5 gevuros, ha-Yeshuos, which are the Yeshuos. They protect Malchus to Shechina mina klipas from the klipas. For who gam came? Watch this stunning thing. Ma shahayud aleph yerios izim. This is enough to make me dance. The 11 tapestries that covered the Mishkan. Who's the Mishkan? The Mishkan, it says, had it had hanging from all sides, and then it says in the front she was covered like this. So Rashi says the front was hanging down like a kala that covers her face, like a veiled kala. So the Mishkan is the Shekhinah in this world. So, and that's why where is the Mishkan? In the Midbar, in the desert. The desert is a place full of snakes and scorpions. And the Mishkan was traveling in the desert to kill the snakes and scorpions. That's the idea that we're learning over here. That's the Shoshana Ben Achuchim. So the Mishkan, the Kala, the daughter-in-law of Rabbi Shia, she needs Rabbi Shia. She needs Hashem Shia. She needs protection. So we know there was a few layers of tapestries. There's the bottom layer, the one that was made out of blue wool, red wool, purple wool, and linen. That was the beautiful one. Then there was one on top of that made out of goat's hair. Now it's interesting. Goats are always associated with the klipa, with the demons. Whenever you have pictures of, or you want to see demons, they had faces of goats. It's associated with Esav. Esav is called Ish Sa'ir, a hairy man, but the word Sa'ir is also related to goat. It means a goat. On Yom Kippur, when we want to get rid of the sins, we take a scapegoat. We take a goat, which is associated with the klipa, and we give it as an offering to the Satan. We give him a korban, we throw him something, he should let go of our sins, give us back all the energy. Discussion for another time. So goats associate with klipa. Now it's interesting. The Shekhinah had a cover of this goat's hair. The bottom cover, underneath the Mishkan, underneath, which is the Shekhinah. Okay. Underneath beneath the goat's hair was the first tapestry, the one that was, you can see from the inside, as I mentioned earlier, was made out, it was one tapestry, but it started off, where the Torah tells you to make it, it started off as 10. And then they sewed 5 together, and they made hooks, and that's how they put it together. The one on top of it had 11 strips. 11. It was larger. Each strip is 4 cubits wide. So the bottom one that had 10 was 40 cubits long. When you sewed them together, it was 40 cubits long. The upper one had 44 because it's 11. 11 times 4 is 44. Okay? That's in the width, which now turns out to be the length. Initially it's the width, and it becomes 44 wide. The other way around, the length of each strip, on the bottom one, the length of each strip was 28 cubits. The top one had 30, so it should hang down 1 extra cubit on one side and 1 extra cubit. And Rashi says that this one was to protect the bottom one. Rashi says from here you see that something nice, you should always be careful, get it fully protected. The outer, you see from here too that this was, even on Nigla, that this one was all about protection. It was a heavier material, simply it was serious, more material. You can watch it. It was more like a rag material, a heavier material to watch the garden. Now this one, so it's made out of goat's hair, and it has 11 strips. Why 11? Because we know that in the Ketores there were also 11 spices. The number 11 in the Ketores, in the incense that they offered. Why was there 11? So it says that in Kedusha, in holiness, the number that dominates in holiness is number 10. 10 Sefirot. 10 commandments, 10 Sefirot. In Klippa, the number that they're associated with is number 11. And the reason is, it says, because they too also have 10 powers, because Hashem created the holy to be opposite the unholy. They also have 10 powers. But the energy that enlivens them is considered, doesn't become unified with them. So it remains distinct, so it becomes a number 11. There is 10 features. The 11th is the godly light that enlivens them, so therefore they associate with number 11. That's why whenever we're fixing the klipa, we associate with number 11. For instance, tshuva on Yom Kippur, we're fixing all the sins and darkness. We're pulling out all the sparks from the klipas. We use what? We use ketores of 11 spices. So now we'll understand. This upper urios, made out of goat's hair, again, goat is associated with the side of klipa. It's 11 because that's the number associated with klipa. Why are we covering ourselves, the Mishkan, with that's what we said earlier. You need to get the security guards. And the security guards need to be from the very dinim where they come from. The very same dinim, you need to have these powerful guys around. What did we say? The concentration of all those dinim is 1320. And we said the gematria of the powers of dinim, the 5 gevuros, 1320. Gematria merachefes al penei hamayim merachefes al penei hamayim vayomer. Gematria 1320. Elokim in the most strict way, and 5 times din 320, 1320. How many cubit feet is there in these urias? 44 times 30. Do your math. I'm sure you can guess, but I'll do it with you. 44 times 30 equals 1320. So the reason to think around is why exactly these measurements? There are 11 pieces. Each one is 4 cubits wide. On the bottom one, you have less. On the top one, made out of the uriah, the numbers. I used to teach this to the children. I was wondering about these numbers. Why this size? And Rashi gives you all the simple reasons. You need an extra cubit to cover on this side. It should cover all the way down to the sockets on this. But the biggest, deepest secrets of existence are all here. Just the cubic, the amount of space that you have. Zergam came, as he says over here. Masha Yud Aleph Yeriyos Izim, the 13 Yeriyos Shesharsha, which they're rooted, Mina Yud Aleph Pchinas Tohu, from the 11 elements of Tohu. Shanaflu, that has collapsed, Kidu, as it is known. Hoya Mispar Amosehem, the Mispar, the number of their Amos, of their cubits. Hamarubas, if you square them, Elef, because you make 30 times 44, Elef Shin Chaf. 1,320, 1320. Kemispar hahei tevois halalu, like these 5 numbers. Okay. So now we know that the Shekhinah has these 5 powers that protect. Now I want to go back, because I'm not going to... Let's go back to the part that we skipped. He's going to go back to those 5 words representing the 5 gevuros that are 5 leaves that are shielding the rose. And we said that 4 of them are mentioned in one pasuk. Merachefes al penei hamayim. The other one, vayomer, is separate. So he says why? And the two and the 5 letters are 5 words are divided into 2 psukim. Dalet tevis, the 4 words mirachefes al penei amayim and bepasuk echad are 1 pasuk. The tevis vayomer, and the word vayomer are bepasuk b'fnei atzmai. There's a pasuk on its own. Hainu ki ahei gevuros, because the 5 gevuros nechlakim are divided lebeis bechinois to 2 elements. Daled mehem shehem gevuros. So which one are the 4? How does he divide them? So he divides them like this. The 4, remember we said before that the 5 gevuros are gevura element of chesed, because remember each sphera has all spheros inside, like we do by spheras omer. So we have gevura in chesed, gevura in teferes, in netzach, and in hod, because those are the 5 main spheros. Yisod is already a combination of all of them in order to give it to malchus. So these, the 5 main ones, chesed, gevura, teferes, netzach, and hod. Each one of them has gevura. So he's going to divide them like this. Chesed, gevura, netzach, and hod are 1. Teferes is separate. Teferes, the middle one, is a separate power. Why? Daled mehem shem gevura is chesed gevura v'netzach and hod, and of netzach and hod nimtakim rak pam echad. They only have 1 time when they get sweetened. Now remember, whenever there's judgments, they can get out of hand. There has to be a perfect balance. There needs to be judgments, because or else, as we said earlier, the forces of evil would become extremely powerful. So you need judgments. You also need judgments to constrict the light so that we should be able to receive the blessing. If the blessing would flow without any constriction, it would overwhelm us. So again, gevura is necessary. Problem is when the muscles get too uptight, when there's a cramp, when it gets too rigid. So there's a sweetening of the judgments. So it says like this: the gevura of chesed, the gevura of gevura, and the gevura of netzach, and the gevura of hod get 1 dosage of sweetening. It's like 1 teaspoon of sugar. 1 time. So it gets 1. When Beis mehem beyerida sachasadim, 2 of them get a dose of sugar, a sweetening. When the chesed descends downward, it goes through the gevuros, and it delivers a dosage of sweetness. Ubeis mehem ba'aliyasam, and 2 of them when the chesed goes up. Now, what exactly is talking about, I don't know, but it seems like a mystical concept, and I opened up Pri Eitz Chaim. He refers to you in Pri Eitz Chaim in Tzitzis, where over there he discusses this idea that after there is gevuros, there is a chesed flow into them to sweeten them. The chesed goes down, 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 all the way to Yesod. As it's going down to Yesod, actually that's mentioned also in the Zohar over here, that the chesed travels to Yesod, it passes through the upper spheros. Where does it pass? It passes through chesed, gevura, teferes, netzach, and hod. As it's passing through, it sweetens the judgments. So here's the thing. 2 of them are sweetened on the way down, and then it rebounds and it goes back up, and 2 of them are sweetened on the way up. So what does that mean? It doesn't say even which ones. Beis mehem beyerida sachasadim, 2 of them when the chesed descends, ubeis mehem b'aliyasem, and 2 of them when the chesed ascends. But gevuras hateferes, the gevura associated with the attribute of teferes, mitmatekes pamayim, gets a double dosage of sweetening. Hein b'yerida v'hein ba'aliyah. It gets a sugar shot. On the way down, it gets a sweetening also when it goes up. Why? Because he explains over there in the Eitz Chaim, for some reason it's going up dafka through teferes. So, how do the other 2 get sweetened on the way up if it's only going through teferes? He discusses all that in Eitz Chaim, which I don't understand all the details of it. It's not no geya for this discussion. He's just bringing this parenthetically, so we didn't get to research that the way we should. He says it over there, Pri Eitz Chaim Shara Tzitzis. I have it right over here. He says, he's trying to explain how tzitzis work, why you measure tzitzis, that you have to put the tzitzis not further away than 3 fingers from. So he gives you why a half a finger, you measure this thumb, and explains exactly what the fingers are. All these details of halacha are so amazingly, perfectly reflecting like these deepest secrets. So in any case, he says over here, he says like this, Omnam einan shavin. He says it's not va'amitik shel ha'gvurei shel ha'ashasham, and the sweetening of the gvuros, Omnam einam shavin, they're not equal. Ki ha'gvura shebegvura kuloi oivedes hamituk. Gevura of gevura loses its shot of sugar. It gets sweetened, but it loses it. A gevura shebeteferes, but gevura of teferes, kuloi memutekes. She's completely sweetened. Her upper half and her lower half. She's completely sweetened. Lefisha kesha oilem hachasadim, because when the chesed goes up, mamtikin, they sweeten the chesed and gevura and teferes. A chesed and gevura only get sweetened on the way up. That's what it is. Netzach and hod get sweetened on the way down. Chesed and gevura get sweetened on the way up, but teferes get sweetened on the way down and on the way up. Nimtza comes out, teferes memutik beis pa'amim. That's the lashon of the Eitz Chaim. That teferes gets sweetened twice. Keniska b'makoyma is explained in its place. And then he says over here, he says Nimtza comes out, ki ein mi sheyimtak beis pa'amim. There is no one that gets sweetened two times, ba'aliyah u'beyarida, in the upping, and in the ascending, and in the downing, and in the descending, raka teferes lovad, only teferes. Okay, again, I don't know what this means or how to translate this in whatever, but this is a concept. But what does the Rebbe say? So the Rebbe's father says, what that does is, Rabbi Leivik says, is it takes teferes and it distinguishes it from the other four gevuras. It puts it in its own category. That's why the gevura of Teferes doesn't go along with the four words. Merachefes al penei amayim. Those are the four gevuras that are only sweetened partially. Vayomer is the gevura of Teferes, and that one is sweetened twice. There's a Rishima where he explains, the Rishima means a note where the Rebbe's father explains the davening of Rosh Hashana. And it has to do with this idea. On the words of Bechein Tein Pachtacha that we're going to be saying next week. And this is the reason that the five words they correspond to the five gevuros that are sweetened. Daled mehem and b'pasuk echad. Four of them are in one. Now again, let's understand something. These gevuros that we're talking about over here are not the harsh gevuros that are not sweetened. If they would be harsh gevuros that are not sweetened at all, then why are they protecting malchus? We want to have nice bodyguards. We want them to be the best, nicest guys. They'll be tough on the bad guys, but we want them, we don't want to have this extreme judgment around us. So they are sweetened. But Amumatok is Daled Mehem, and that's why we're going to see later that, remember when we said we pick up the cup, and these are the five gurus, these five fingers are on the right hand, they're not on the left hand, which means they're impacted by the chesed, by the sweetening. Even though they're gevuris, but they're gevuris memutakais. They're sweetened already. But four of them are sweetened partially. That's why they're in one pasuk. A pasuk echad. The echad mehem, and one of them, who b'pasuk b'fnei atzma, is in its own pasuk. Va'afilu mitzad ha'hei gevuris atzma. Now the Rebbe's father takes it to a step further. He says, so according to this, really the five gevuris are all equal. The difference why one is different, one stands alone, separated from the others, is because this one is because of the sweetening. That this one got two tablespoons of sugar and the others got, he says, in addition to that, even before the sweetening, the judgments themselves, Teferes judgment, even before it gets sweetened, is different than the Gevura and the others. For another reason. Meaning, aside for the sweetening that happens later, just the Gevura itself, it's a different level. It's a different kind of I'm sorry for using such physical terms. Instead, it's not such a harsh jalapeno. It's a sweeter pepper. Not what you're later going to sweeten it. The Gevura of Teferes is a little sweeter, a little softer. Mesharei Dalid Gevurais, from the other 4 Gevurais. V'hu. And why is that? Ki Shoirish HaGevurais Hu Mitayu. The root of all Gevura comes from the intense world of Tohu. Tohu is extremely intense. And that's what later creates this intensity, which is what Gevura is. Shu B'Said, and that's why we say, this world of Tohu, we say, he wants to associate the world of Tohu with Gevura. Well, it says, in the beginning, God had a thought to create the world with Midas Hadin. And then he decided, no, we'll create it with Rachamim. He saw the world can't handle it, he created it with Rachamim. So simply, he had a thought, but he thought, it wouldn't be a good thing. When God thought to create the world, he created a world. That's the world of Tohu. The world of Tohu is that initial thought of intense light. That's Midas Hadin, that's Gevura, very intense light. Rosh the worlds don't hold because the taka broke. How did he see? Because they shattered. He saw it collapsed. The world of Tohu. Shittif by Midas Harachmim, he created the world of Tikkun, which is already a blend. But that's the original world. So what do you see from here? That Tohu is Midas Hadin. So okay. So let's look. So therefore, the Rebbe says, if that's the case, Rabbi Leivik says, therefore, if we want to examine the Gevurais, let's go up to the original where they start. Let's go up to Tohu and see when they're breaking, how it's breaking. Hine Shviras HaTeferes Yoiser Kala, the shattering of Teferes was a little lighter and less Meshvira Sharei Amalachim, from the breaking of the other kings. Remember, we said the kings that shattered. Each one is another sphera that shattered. And Vayishlach, where it speaks about the kings of Edom, which is the world of Tohu, which is Edom means intense. So one king and he died, and one king and he died. What do you think is going on now when they want to impeach President Trump? They don't stop. They want to keep on impeaching him, like every single time. And others. This is all the repercussions of this whole Shviras HaKelim of the world of Tohu. It's all Edom. He's a redneck. Not redneck, but he's red. And he's it's all, and he's got the intensity of the world of Tohu and this whole Shvira. And you're learning it over here in this story, but it's really the story of life in every aspect. Any case, so when it broke, it took a softer break. Hein ba'oiroi, we know that what shattered? The sphirot of Tohu, the vessels of Tohu shattered. Now in the vessels, there's oir and there's keli, there's light and there's vessel. So when it shattered, both the light and the vessel were impacted. The vessels shattered, the lights retracted. That's what it says. Hein ba'oiroi ve'hein ba'hakeli shaloi. But in Teferes, element of the world of Tohu, it was softer breakage, both regarding the light and regarding the vessel. Number one, its light did not completely retract. The light did not get moved. By this great explosion, the light didn't move. The other spheres, the light itself was impacted, not with Teferes. Number two, va'keli shaloi nafla, and the kelim of Teferes, of Tohu, when they fell, it fell lebchinas hayoser el yoino debria. It fell to the highest place, the highest level of the world of Bria, where over there it's not so dark. Even the klippas there are very holy klippas. They're close to light. They're close to holiness. The other spheres that end up falling in the lower parts of Bria and in Yetzirah, especially those that end up those sparks that end up falling all the way into the world of Asiya, there is a very heavy duty fall, extreme. So its collapse of its vessels was also, like we say, with Rahmanis. So the injury, what he's basically saying is that the Teferes was not injured so bad. If that, in other words, it fell to which level of Bria? Lekeser de Bria, to the crown element of Bria. Since it fell to the crown element of Bria, it's not so damaged. Therefore, since Gevurais, again, let's go back. The general power of Gevurais are all deriving from the world of Tohu. That's where Midas Hadin is. So we understand the stronger the tohu impact, the shvira of tohu, the more intense the gevura is going to be. Since Teferes was a weaker fall in tohu, it was not so good, so its gevuras are a little softer. And in addition to that, when it gets sweetened twice. So you understand that's in a whole different level of gevura. Now he says, so that's what puts it into, that was all to explain one thing, why it's in a different pasuk. Why we don't line them all up together. But now he adds another thing. V'hu tevis, which word is indicative of this gevura of Teferes? The gevura of Teferes that's part of the 5 fingers, which word? It's the first word of the second pasuk. Vayomer, or the third pasuk, pasuk gimel. V'hu tevas vayomer. So we have to see that in the word Vayomer you have already a softer judgment. Well, Chazal tell us that Vaidaber is harsh, Vayomer is soft. When Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu to go speak to the Jewish people about the Torah, to the men he said, V'saged, go relate to them. Rashi says, Kashim kegidim, harsh words. Or Vayadaber, it means kasha, is hard. Vayomer means softly. To the women, speak delicately, God says. So you see, Vayomer is Lashon Raka, Shamira Raka, who roimez al Gevura is Teferes. It's indicative of the Gevura of Teferes, Shem Nimtaka Pamayim, that became 2 times softened. L'chein hi Raka, that's why she's soft. Vayomer, soft. Because why is it soft? It's not so hard. Gevura is hard. It's soft. Another indication that Vayomer is associated with Teferes. Again, you're following which Vayomer? It's Vayomer of the word Mirachefes al Pnei Hamayim, Vayomer. He said, Vayomer is also Gematria Noira. And it's very easy to figure out this Gematria because the difference between the 2 words, they both have a Resh, they both have an Aleph, and they both have a Vav. The difference between them is the Mem and the Yud. Well, you put the Mem and the Yud together from Vayomer, you get the Nun of Noira. Because Mem is 40, Yud is 10, so together it's Nun is 50. So Noira and Vayomer is the same gematria. It's 256. Vayomer is 256 and Noira. What's the idea? In davening we say, Elokei Avram, which is Chesed, Elokei Yitzchak, which is Gevura, Elokei Yaakov. Then we say Hakel, Hagodol, which is Chesed, Hagibor, Vahanora. Nora is Teferes. So Vayomer and Venora, same word, Gematria. So Vayomer is Shaykh to Teferes. Hainu Teferes ki yidua as it is known. And that's why Yaakov Avinu says about God, who's Teferes, Manora hamakay mazeh. The first time he has a meeting with God, he emphasized Nora, how awesome. And we don't find Avram calling God Nora. Yitzchak doesn't either. Pachad Yitzchak. Yaakov, Noira. Why? Because Yaakov is associated with Noira. V'chein al pi pashut. And now the Rebbe's father, he's just genius. He says, and by pashtus, the word Vayomer in this pasuk, what is God going to say now? In pasuk Gimel and Bereshis, what is he going to say? Vayomer Elokim Yehi Or, let there be light. Till now it's darkness, choshech, tov, all the harsh stuff. Suddenly Vayomer Elokim Yehi Or. So since the word Vayomer over here is the beginning of the sentence where God is going to say Yehi Or, let there be light, and light is chesed, you can understand that even though this is one of the gevuras, it's a sweetened gevura. It's full already of the, as we said before, it was sweetened twice. It has that extra sin. And what it says in the next pasuk, Yehi Or, let there be light. Yehi Or roimez al chasadim, because Yehi Or is already remez on chesed. Chesed is light. V'zeu shenivra b'yom rishon. And that's why when was the light created? He wants to show that light is associated with chesed, with chasadim. Because when was the light created? On Sunday. The only thing that God created on Sunday, he created heaven and earth, and light. So why Sunday? Because Yom Rishon is chesed. So it's a creation of chesed. Shadaim is shenivra b'yom rishon. Shadaim is al chesed. V'hu hachasadim d'tchura shenichnas b'yesod, which this is. Now remember I was quoting to you the Zohar, and we were talking about the 2 times it mentions the name. If you remember, 2 times it mentions the name Elokim. Between the first and the second Elokim, 3 times Elokim. Between the first and the second, there are 13 words. And between the second and the third, there are 5. What happens after the third Elokim? Vayomer Elokim, Yehi Or, let there be light. So the Zohar, in continuation where I left off earlier, the Zohar says, Mikan Ulahala, after the third Elokim, the third one, Oyer, that's already light. The Isberi, it was created. The Isganis, and we know that light was hidden. Where was it hidden? The Skalal Bebris, it was hidden in Yesod. So where does the light come from? It comes from Chesed. It's Chasadim, it's lights of Chesed, but it's being channeled down into Yesod. Yesod, because here's the thing. Till now we're dealing, right in the beginning of the Torah, people don't realize this. Before we even start talking about any masculine elements in creation, it all begins with the female. Bereshis bara Elokim, remember? So, Bereshis bara Elokim, Malchus. What does Malchus have? 13 petals, 13 words. Then she has another 5, second time Elokim, 5. Now she's here with all of her protection and word. Now, in order to help sweeten Malchus, give her. So now we turn to the man. Man is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the masculine side, and he gets married to her eventually, and he's going to sweeten her judgments by him having an intimate relation with her. He's going to bestow. It says that the woman is full of gevura. The man has to channel chesed into her. That's the meaning of the oyer. Vayomer Elokim Yehi Oyer. That's the light. Oyer zaru al tzadik. It goes down to Yesod. Yesod is the connector between the him and her. So, and what does he give her? He gives her from his chesed. That's the meaning. We're going to open Yom Kippur's davening. We open up with the pasuk, Oyer Zarua La Tzadik. Tzadik is Tzadik Yesod Olam. It's called Tzadik Yesod. Oyer, the light, Zarua is planted, La Tzadik. For what purpose? That he can give her chesed. So that's what the Zohar says over here. Is gone, that means the light got hidden in Yesod. Ahu da'ol b'shoshana, and then he transmits to the Shoshana through Yesod. He has relations with the Shoshana, with the rose that has full of dinim. The apik bazara, and he gives her seed. V'da ikra eitz, and that's called a tree, oisapri, that makes fruit. Ashazare boy. V'ahuzera kayama ba'ois bris mamish. Okay, and this is the sweetening and so on and so forth that he gives her. That's the meaning in the next part. Right after you finish with her, then Vayomer Elokim. Now the chesed flow comes. Yehi Oyer, that's the light. So the Vayomer, however, even though it's still part of the 5 leaves that are protecting her and part of the Gevura, it's already related to the Yehi Oyer of that pasuk. So therefore, it's a sweetened type of Gevura. That's what he's emphasizing. Hold on. As it's understood from the introduction to Zohar. And even though according to the Pirish of the Zohar, Sham, the Zohar over there, the word Vayomer is connected to the earlier words, and these are the 5 words. It's indicating Gevura, not Chesed. Hashaychem lamalchus, that are shayach lamalchus. So the Vayomer, the Zohar is cutting off the Vayomer because it's before the word Elokim, so it belongs to the previous. Hahei alan tekifim, which are the 5 intense leaves. Im kol zeh eina yotzem edei pshutoy. We can't take it out of its simple meaning. Shahavayomer koi al yehi oyer. That the Vayomer is referring to the next words. Yehi oyer, let there be light. Haroimez al chasadim. That is indicative on chesed. Tahainu shehu gevuras hateferes. It's a special gevura which is teferes. Remember we said before, it's the gevura of the teferes hametuka legamri b'chasadim, that is completely sweetened, not halfway sweetened. It's fully sweetened because it got a jolt of sweetening on the way down and on the way up. Ki nimtekas pamayim, because it was 2 times sweetened, uka'omer, as we said before. Okay, that's the parentheses. He just had to throw that in, just as a understanding the 5 fingers. Now we go back to the last line on the bottom. No moving, it's understood. She'im hakala hi malchus. Now let's go back to the kala. Who's the kala? Again, we're trying to, if you remember the first story, it's the daughter-in-law of Rabbi Ishia that went to bathe Erev Shabbos in the bathhouse. And she got stuck there Shabbos. Okay, and she needs to get a heter to get back into the Tchum Shabbos. Do you realize there's a lot to discuss still over here? This is not gonna Imke. And she's related somehow to this entity called Oishia, who's the word Yeshua, right? Oishia means Yeshua, salvation. He's helping her out and protecting her. But who is he? He turns out to be her relative, this Oishia. He's her father-in-law. Imkein Chamir Reb Oishia. It's the mother-in-law, it's the father-in-law of Malchus. Who's the father-in-law of Malchus? Roimez al Chachma. That is indicated, or that's symbolizes or points to Chachma. Shehi Chamiha de Malchus. He is the father-in-law of Malchus. Why is he the father-in-law of Malchus? Why is Reb Oishia the father-in-law of Malchus? He's the father-in-law of Malchus because... Why is Chachma the father-in-law of Malchus? Let's see. Malchus is the wife. She's married to the Ze'er Anpin. Ze'er Anpin is Chesed Gevur the 6, which is called son. There's son and daughter. Malchus is the daughter, and they're married. Who's the Ze'er Anpin's father? Chachma and Bina, father and mother. So it's her husband's father. It happens to be also her father. Because in Atzilus, brother and sister are married. It's explained in many memorim that up there it's the holy of the holy. Down here we can't handle it, so it's too intense. Over here it becomes very sinful. But up there so Chachma is called the father of Malchus, but Chachma is also the father-in-law of Malchus. So if we're talking about this Kala, her father-in-law, it's Chachma. And he is supplying what? The 5 Gevurah, the 5 fingers, because he's called Oishia, the 5 Kais Yeshuas. So the Rebbe Levi Yitzchak is going to be bothered. Chachma is not a source of Gevurah. Bina is a source of Gevurah. So why is the Gevurah that we're, and we said before that this is the concentration of all the Gevurahs. This is the 1320. This is the concentration of all the Gevurahs. If this is the concentration of all the Gevurahs, why, if this is the concentration of all the Gevurais, why is it coming from Chachma? It should come anywhere from Bina. Bina is the source of Gevurah. Like we know. What is Gevurah? Just in simple words. Bina, what does Bina do? There doesn't mean Chachma and Bina. But Chachma is a flash, an idea. Indivisible, unbroken. Bina finds all the details and breaks it down. That's an act of Gevurah. Compartmentalizes everything. Everything is defined. Everything is separated. All right. So that's his question. The Arizal in Parshas Vayeshev, when he talks about Tamar, and they told Tamar that your father-in-law Yehuda, because Tamar was married, is going. So the Arizal explains how Tamar is Malchus and the father-in-law is Chachma. And this, where he explains what this idea is. So the question is, what is the shaykhis of the 5 gevuros to Chachma? Hare adarabba, on the contrary, Chachma hu ascholas kava yamin. Chachma is on the right side, so it's the side of Chesed. The way we set up the spheres are Chachma on the right, Bina on the left, Das in the middle, Chesed on the right beneath Chachma. Kava yamin mekoyrach hasadim. It's the source of Chesed light. Yesh loymar, we have to say, Ki ahei gevurais hamashiyim, the 5 gevurais that are helping Malchus, hareyem mitmatkin ba'chasadim. These are not, as I said before, these are not very rough gevurais, even though they have all the intensity, but they're not harsh and biting gevurais, because Malchus wouldn't want to have such security guards, as I said earlier. They're sweetened. Ukemoi hakois Yeshuos, that's what he says. Like you see that the cup of salvation that Malchus sits on, who behei ba'etzpah the yad yamin, it's on the 5 fingers of the right side, bizoar sham, not the 5 fingers on the left. So ukemoi shekasif, and there's another pasuk. It says hoshia yamincha va'aneni. Let your right hand help me. Hoshia yamincha. Yamincha is right. Now Yeshua is these intense gevuros. That shouldn't come from the right, that comes from the left. No, we say Hoshia yamincha. Your right hand va'aneni. V'haim mefarshei hazoyar bebir hazoyar sham. Zehu shah Yeshuos. That's why the Yeshuos shaychim leReb Oishia kishmoi. They have a connection to Reb Oishia because his name, Reb Oishia. Number one, he's the father-in-law of this Kala. Number one. But his name is Oishia, so he's related to these Yeshuas. Shu chameo da'akali, he's the father-in-law of her. B'chenas chachma, he's the element of chachma. And another connection, he's going to connect the gevurais to chachma from another reason. Gam chachma, also chachma, even though chachma is the source of chesed, but really, if you trace chachma into its higher source, and this goes back to something we learned in the Maimer of the Mittler Rebbe, just when we're learning the Maimer al Tatzer Esmoyav, you'll remember this in a minute. Shar shama chachma stima. Chachma, the revealed chachma, its root is in the concealed chachma, which the concealed chachma is the chachma that's in Keser, in Erech Anpin, the concealed potential of chachma. And we spoke over there, remember we spoke about the dark lamp that sets kates, that sets measures for everything. So we said that kav, that setting is in moyach stima, it's in the hidden moach, where there's already din. Over there we discussed that from the, remember he brings it from the chayet, from the tailor, from that Kabbalist that we said, where he says that chachma already has dinim to them. Why? What does Chachma have? Because the shorish of Chachma is in Chachma Stima, and in Chachma Stima is where the 5 gevuros of Atik are, and that's where the shorish of Dinim, of Kav HaModed, of the measuring stick that measures everything out. Shasham hu shorish ahei gevuros, that's the root of the 5 gevuros. L'chein yetochen loimar, it fits to say, Shah Yeshuos ahei gevuros, which the Yeshuos, which they are the 5 gevuros, hem Chachma, they come from Chachma. V'ayim b'pri Yitzchayim, Shara Shofar, Perik Dalid, related to now, Shofar, look in Pri Yitzchayim, Be'inyan atkiya rishayna, over there he's discussing each one of the sounds that we make on Rosh Hashana. Can you imagine how many secrets they have? Shehu beis pamim menatzbach. The first tkiya, you're supposed to have kavanas on 2 times the word menatzbach. Menatzbach are the 5 gevuros. Mem, whenever we discuss, the 5 gevuros are also hinted to in the 5 letters that are double, because we only put them at the end of a word. Mem sofit, nun sofit, the end, which is the idea of gevura. They hit the brakes, stop. They refrain, restraining powers. Mem nun tzadik pei chaf. Hanimshach machachma, which over there he explains that that's coming from chachma, ayin shah. Okay. V'chein ha'acharayim de Elokim daheyin im ha'shach dinim. Remember we came up with the number 1320 before, which we said is the sum totality of all gevurais. Comes from the back of Elokim of Hay. Also with this 320 dinim, together you get 1320. Sharsham, they too, mechachma stima. In their original source, they all originate in the hidden element of chachma. So there is din there. Ha'elef almen de chasimin be'izka, the 1,000 worlds that are signed be'izka. Izka usually means a ring. I have no idea what he's talking about. This Kabbalistic idea. V'shamu ashach dinim, and in that same place is where the 320 judgments are. Kidu as it is now. Nimtza comes out. Now, by the way, I have to say this. I can't control myself. Now, this is not just a concept over here, but you should just know this. From the Jewish world, the Lubavitcher Rebbe had had opposition. The world didn't get this tzaddik. Most of the Jewish world still doesn't realize what's going on, who the Rebbe is and what's happening over here. Menachem is the ultimate comfort, the ultimate chesed, the ultimate kindness, the ultimate kindness of Mashiach, the ultimate. But a lot of rabbis opposed the Rebbe and tried to stop him and everything. The main opposer to the Rebbe was from Bnei Barak, and his last name was Shach, which is Shin Chav. It's interesting, which is the source of judgments and of dinim and of constrictions. And it's very interesting. I always thought about that. It's very interesting. There's a lot in the name. And it's interesting, his first name is the same name like the Rebbe. You know that, Menachem. But the only difference is that his name was Menachem Man. He didn't have the Daled Lamed. The Dal, which Dal means the bittel, the Daled Lamed, which is Dal means the poorness. So he has the Man, but not the, in any case, I'm not going to get into that. Nimtza, now I'm sure everything's already nisakin, everything has been fixed already, everything is already in a state ready for Mashiach, everything is already cool. We're all cool already. Nimtza kalosai shel Reb. Comes out that the kala from Rabbi Shia, Nimtza kalosai shel Rabbi Shia, the daughter-in-law of Rabbi Shia. He b'chenas malchus. Okay, that's everything we learned till now was just for the statement. So the kala of Rabbi Shia, the daughter of Rabbi Shia, daughter-in-law, that's malchus from all sides, because she has the protecting 5 things. Rabbi Shia is her father-in-law. The whole thing fits. Very good. Now, what's her thing? Kisheshana bein achoichem. She's like the rose amongst the thorns. She b'chenas malchus hayeredes lebriya. She is malchus that goes down to the world of bria. To do what? To fix. Like it says that the Shechina goes down, as we spoke in the beginning of the class, the Neshama goes down into the dark alleyways to pick up, to go mining for the treasures that are there. But we have to go into, and the treasures are protected by the fierce dragons. So we have to go in there. When does Malchus go down? What's the time of tikkun and birur and extracting? When is the mining company open? In the 6 days of the week. Because in the 6 days of the week, the Eibishter gave us letakein. Or the part we say in the Ashabara Elokim Lasais. Hashem finished all the work. Ashabara Elokim Lasais. Rashi and the Gemara says, or the Lasais letakein, to fix. The tikkun that need to make, fix the world. To fix the part of the world that's not fixed. That's where the klippas are. Bria, Tzir, and Asiyah, to fix it. But when do we do that? 6 days of the week. And then afterwards, Shabbos, we're not there anymore. We're elevated to a place where there's no darkness, there's no klippas. We're completely involved only with holiness, with Kedusha. So that's the 6 days of the week. Levarer anitzutz de toyo. We go down to elevate the sparks of toyo. Pchinas mirachefes. We're going to the place of mirachefes. What's mirachefes? Where the reish peches mace, where the 288 sparks have died. Shebesham, that are there, that are in the klippas. Vahabirur. Now, how do we rectify? Where do we get our power to do birur? For example, we're in Hashana, we're in this world. We're a holy Hashana. Now, elevate a spark. You're introduced now with a spark. What is a spark? A spark is an energy enclosed in something in this world. Now connect it to God. I have no clue. How do I connect something to God? How do I connect an apple to God? I'm clueless. Oh, I have to consult the Torah. I open up the Torah tells me that my relationship with an apple is as follows. Number one, if it's from the first 3 years, I can't eat it. Not kosher. Because it has 3 sholish klipas atmeas hanging on it, I can't. 3 years are over, now it's kosher. Oh, but now, before I eat an apple, I gotta make a bracha. make the brach, eat the apple. And then certain times I can't eat it. It's a fast day, this, that. I didn't daven yet, this, that, different rules. The Torah gives, and when I eat it exactly the way the Torah allows me to eat that apple, then I've elevated the spark. That's an apple. And if I want to elevate something else, again, I consult the Torah, and it tells me exactly how to deal with all aspects of the world. Torah is God's chachma. So the Zohar says, b'chachma is beridu. Even though Malchus, that's the Jew, that's the neshama, does the tikkun, but it does it through the clarity that chachma gives. Chachma gives the clarity of exactly how to use something in surrender to God. Chachma is be'ikr. Why dafka chachma? Because chachma is the power of bittul, koach ma, the power of bittul, nullification. Kalipa, the whole kalipa is that it's not batal, it's a yesh, it's into itself, it's arrogant, and we using something in surrender to God. That's how we extract the spark and elevate it, or allow the spark to shine and to take away the klipas, and that's b'chachma. So that's why the biru de chachma kamaymer b'chachma is beridu. That with chachma we do the biru. That's why it's another reason. It's not. In other words, why does she need to be the daughter-in-law of Rabbi Oishia? Not only for protection amongst the klipas. We said before, she receives the Yeshuais from Rabbi Oishia to protect her. She also needs to be connected to Rabbi Oishia, who's chachma, because only through the energy of chachma does she have the ability to do her job in the 6 days of the week in fixing the world. And she's the kala of Rabbi Oishia, which is the shechina down here to fix the world. It's through the power of chachma. So again, she needs him. She needs Rabbi Oishia as her guide, as her instruction manual, as her instrument to elevate, to extract the sparks. She also needs, while she's doing the extraction, all these bullies that are hovering around her, she needs his protection. And both these things come from Chachma. Chachma does birur. Chachma also gives her the 5 Yeshuais, as we spoke earlier. V'yesh baha Yeshuais mechachma, and it also has the Yeshuais from Chachma, lahoishia min haklipos, to save her from the klipas, sheyarda lemekaimam, because she went down to their space, levara mehem anitzutzis, in order to elevate the sparks. This is all during the week. But when it comes Shabbos, Malchus is now going to say bye-bye to the 3 worlds, Bria, Tzir, and Asiyah, which are filled with klipas. She's going back home. She's going back with her basket full of sparks, full of goodies that she extracted. Every week, a Yid comes back from all of his expeditions during the week. And Shabbos, we bring back the schayra. We're bringing back the material. We went to the market, now we're bringing back the merchandise. The sparks that we've elevated will get elevated on Shabbos. But we gathered them during the week. Now Shabbos, we come back. So b'Shabbos, Oila HaMalchus meBria la'Atzilus, she ascends from Bria back to the world of Atzirus. Im HaNitzutzin, together with her bag of gems, of jewels, Shabirah, that she's extracted. But what happens is, as Malchus rises up to her real source of life, the klipas, they hang on to her. They grab onto her gown, and they want to go up with her, because they know she's going to a good place. And they want to get a ride with her, hitch a ride, so they too can receive some of the goodies from the world of Atzilus, that intense light. So she needs to now shake herself off from all these klipas. So the klipas also want to take a ride with her, chas v'shalom. They want to go up with her. That's the real reason why we shower on Erev Shabbos. It's a mitzvah on Erev Shabbos for every Jew to shower, and you're supposed to take a hot shower. What's the reason? Because it's the hot water, as we're going to see soon, that contains not just physically hot water. In that hot water is powerful, powerful, godly, flaming fires that throw the klipas that are latched, just like the hot water gets rid of the germs and the dirt that might be getting onto a person. The hot water spiritually stands there, and you're basically around your neshama, you're torching with flames of fire as you're showering physically, and the klippas suddenly they're terrified, they can't handle it, and they bug off. And now you're ready to go into Shabbos. So I know, for instance, if I go, sometimes I'm in the car, I'll listen to the radio. Listen to the news, listen to the talk show. So on Shabbos, and I'm going to the mikveh, Erev Shabbos, you go to the mikveh, you take a shower, and you're coming back. And I always had this feeling that I should never listen to the radio anymore. Or it's already, Shabbos, it's Shabbos. You're going to open the door now to latch on again. No matter what it is, you're finished, done. After the shower on Shabbos, it's Shabbos already. Don't get back in. Leave your phone alone. Don't check out every gegangen, closed, because that is like getting yourself dirty again after the shower. And what's the point? To remove the filth, the hapsoilas and the residue shehema klippas, which are the klippas. For who ashalhuva the isha? This is the flaming fire. Hanimshach miyichud yudke hadoichem es klippas. There's a pasuk that says, Shalheves Ka, the flames of Ka. So in the Eitz Chaim and the Arizal, he explains that Shalheves Ka is as follows. Then on Friday, let me read it to you. It's very, very special. Now you're wondering what I was doing with all these books. So this is the same Sefer, but the volume 2, pre-Eitz Chaim, before I shared with you about the rising chesed, hitting it once or twice. Before you dip in a mikveh, tirchatz panecha, you should wash your face, and afterwards your hands, and afterwards your feet, b'mayim chamen, and hot water. V'hizar, be careful. Lirchatz tchila hapanim, first start with your face, afterwards your hands, and afterwards your feet, and hot water on Erev Shabbos. First you have to have a clean head. And afterwards, eventually you're going to lift your legs as well. There below. And what's the secret of this bathing? It's the secret, the Arizal says. Shalhavusa de isha. It's the flames of fire. The nafik b'chol Erev Shabbos. Every Erev Shabbos in the supernal spheres, a flaming fire goes out. And it gets into the stars, whatever. It goes down to the place where the klippas are. And it casts them down. High shaluva, and corresponding to this flame, these are the hot waters. In other words, it's enclosing into our shower. Imagine that thing. They remove the filth. That is stuck to a person. It's the secret, what it says in Parshas Vayakel, the Zohar. Ki b'chol Erev Shabbos, and every Erev Shabbos, mikskaptzim oisam ayin kachavim, the 70 stars, I guess they're connected to the 70 ministering angels that are the klippas, and they want to follow along with Malchus and go up, and we tell them, no. It says over there, it becomes like a big fire. They want to get close. They want to get a little nash from Atzilus, and that is a no-no zone. We're not giving them anything from Atzilus. And he goes through the whole thing. Klipas noiga is the closest to Kedusha, and it's a klipa, and it sees that from the shefa of Shabbos, the klipa, because it's so close to Kedusha, sees that from it wants a piece of Shabbos. They want a little bit of Shabbos. And therefore they feel it's her turn. She knows that the Kedusha is now going back up. In order for her union above, so that she can bring new light down next week. And therefore she too rises to ask for parnasa. She too wants, the klipa wants a handout. Because that she comes afterwards to take. And therefore, in order, now if she comes, the Zohar, the Eitz Chaim says, then she will stop the yichud. Because if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is looking at the Shechina and he sees her company, who's coming along with her, he sees that she has snakes wrapped around her, he's not going to want to have anything to do with her. So I'm going to pull those snakes off and those scorpions, or whatever they are, off of her, those leeches, off of her, then she can come up for the yichud. So therefore she must shower before Shabbos. In order that the klipa should not stop, as klolis v'toisefes kedusha al yoina, the whole added holiness that's supposed to come into the world as a result of this yichud, as nimshach megvura al yoina. So from the higher gevura, mehei gevurais, from the 5 gevuras, koyach echad, one koyach, hanikra shaluva the isha, which is called flames of fire. Umoirid oisa hakoichva umedira the isha. It throws them down letata below adat tahom. It throws them down to the tahom. Tahom means to the lowest place. Every Shabbos they get beaten down. Never thought that a shower is so important. And he goes on to explain that, and he says, but where does this power come from? Where does this power to cast them down? Oy omnam, I'm skipping a little bit. Soid Maayon chamen shem soid ahushul lechein tzarich lechavet. He gives you the intentions. These are your shower intentions. Imagine the people who live according to Kabbalah. So when they're going in the shower, they have the mystical. Every single movement has deep mystical thoughts. Berechitzas raglayim be'erev Shabbos. When you wash your feet on erev Shabbos, primarily your feet, because the feet of Malchus go down into a place of death. Soid kavana shalheves yutke. You have to have the kavana of this shalheves yutke. Ki zeh shalheves yoytze min hayutke. This shalheves, this flaming fire, comes out of chachma and bina kedei lahapal haklipa lamata, to cast the klipa down. And therefore, this is great. This is from the Arizal. Va'oisi is shalheves, and the word shalheves, which means a flame. There's a school called Shalhevet. Now you'll get a whole new insight, and I should tell them what the word shalhevet means. You know what the word is? Shabbos lamed hey. Shabbos la. Shabbos la. What does that mean? What does that mean? Shabbos is made up of 3 words, of shin beisav. Shin bas, the daughter. Bas is Malchus. Same idea like the Kala here. Bas is Malchus. Where is Malchus going? Malchus is going to connect to the Shin. Who's the Shin? The Shin, he says, is either the higher spheroids, either Netzach Hod Yesod, or Chesed Gevura Teferes, even higher. There's 2 triangles. Chesed Gevura Teferes, Netzach Hod Yesod. Both of them are 2 dimensions in the masculine light. She's going, you hear? Malchus is going up to be unified with her husband. That's what Shabbos is. It's the time of yichud. That's why it's a time of intimacy as well. It's a time of, so the shin and the bas are getting together. Beis Saf, she's going up to the shin. Sheyah Malchus and Ikra Bas, she goes up to the shin. And that's why she needs to have law for her. She needs a yutke, shalheves yutke, to help that Shabbos happen. Ki soida Shabbos nimshach kedushasei min yutke, shu abba ve'ima, like Shabbos is called kodesh. So then, v'aliyah zu garmes eisha shalheves. This aliyah causes the flame, because you can't, because it has to, in other words, because she's rising, it has to evoke a fire to cast the klipas away. She'im loikein, hoisa kedusha yechayla lalois, kedusha cannot rise, im nachash karuch ala kveha, if a snake is curled on her heel. So the kedusha couldn't rise. This is the idea of the mikvah. And by the way, right after the mikvah is also in Inyan, it says, right after the shower and this and that, to cut the nails. Cutting the nails also represents disconnecting the klipas that are at the very, very end from coming into Shabbos. So that's what he's saying. So now We're going back over here. So this is all hinted to with this daughter-in-law of Rabbi Ishia, who's going to the bathhouse on Erev Shabbos. Now, did anybody ever think that all this is going to do next week when we're going to say Tashlich? We're going to get to that. This is hinted to in the Torah, where the Torah says, a fire went out of Cheshbon. In the end of Parshas Chukas, it says, a fire went out of Cheshbon. It destroyed the Or Moav, the capital of Moab. Shehema Klipos, which those are the Klipos, Halaumas de Rachel, that stand opposite of Rachel. Rachel and Esther is the same idea. It both represents the Shechina and Shoshana. They both represent the Shechina when she's going down into the Klipos. Ubemishnas Chasidim, Mesechtes Yom Hashishi, Perikei, look in all those places. V'ayin gam kem b'Lekuti Torah l'Arizal. Check it out in Lekuti Torah l'Arizal, Parshas Vayero, b'Drishta b'Nois Lot Ayin Sham. And related to the drush relating to the daughters of Lot. Zehu masha holcha lebeis hamerchetz. That's why she went to the bathhouse. Be'erev Shabbos. And when was she going? It was Erev Shabbos. L'irchatz bechamen. She went to bathe in hot water to disconnect the klipos. Litchos klipos. She went there to get rid of the klipos. But what happened to her? She delayed the chashchala. It got dark for her. V'nishara, and she ended up outside mechutz litchum. She ended up being outside of the boundaries of Shabbos, the Shabbos boundaries. She ended up being outside of those boundaries. Why did it get dark for her? If what we're going to learn now is not it's not just brilliance. If this is not God sharing Torah with him, I have no idea how he figured this out. What does it mean that it got dark for her? Why did it get dark for her? We'll see. So then he says very simple. Why don't you leave earlier? I mean, she's not. Why don't you leave earlier? Another thing she could. Why don't you wash in her house? She has to go to this bathhouse outside. Let her wash in her house. This would never have happened to her. In other words, he's learning the Gemara, saying, "Hey, Shlomo, good for you. You got stuck out there. Who asked you to go out there? Take a shower." Oh, the showers were occupied. It is no more hot water. Poor girl. I guess the mother-in-law said, "I'm sorry. I got the shower now. You want to go? Go outside the city." We'll soon see the mother-in-law came to the rescue. The mother-in-law plays a pivotal role over here. So why did she go to the Beis HaMerchetz? Why didn't she wash in her, bathe in her house? Okay, so let's break this open over here. Oy, this is super. Merchatz, I wish I could learn every Gemara like this. If I would have every Gemara like this, I would actually love learning Gemara. Merchatz gematria. Okay, so let's take a look. What's a bathhouse? Who would have ever thought this is a bathhouse? That's right. This is amazing. So what's a bathhouse? Well, let's take a look at the word merchatz. Merchatz is 200. No, first you got to erase it's 200. 290, the tzaddik. It's 333. No, 338. Right? Reish tzaddik is what? 290 plus 40. 338. Merchatz is gematria 338. Which is, here we go. Gematria Yud Kimel Pamim Havaya. 13 times Havaya. 26 times 13. 338. Think about something when you go to the shower house next time. What is that? 13 times Yud K? Well, the 13 attributes. Shua Yud Gimel Tkune Diukna. These are the 13 strands of hair, which are the 13 attributes of mercy. So why is she going there? Because she really wanted to get these klippas good. She didn't want to push them away 10 feet. She wanted to get thrown light years away. In order to shove the klippas really well, it's from the 13 attributes of the Tikkun Diyukna actually means the tikkunim related to God's beard, 13 strands of the beard, which is the 13 attributes of mercy. How do we know that? At the main, well, we're going to be doing Tashlich. When we're going to say Tashlich, you're going to say the pasuk Mi Keil Kamoich, and it's going to tell you to have in mind each one by another one of the 13 attributes of mercy. And what are you doing? You're casting the klippas off you. It's not just throwing away your sins. It's whatever is latching itself onto the person because of the sins. Now you need to detox. You need to what do they call it? Decontaminate. And what are you doing? What did we say over there? V'sashlich b'metzuleis yam. You'll throw into the depth of the sea, kol chatoisam, all the sins means all the klippas that are latching on, away. From where is it going to come from? From the 13 like it says, Sham, in the 13th Tikkun Diyukna, one of the psukim, one of the words are, it's actually, the 13 attributes of mercy are mentioned twice. There is there's Moshe's 13 attributes of mercy, which is Hashem, Kel, Rachum, V'chanun. And there is the 13 attributes of mercy from Micha. And those 13 attributes of mercy are Mi Keil Kamoicha, Noisei Ovein V'oiver Al Pesha. It's what we say over here in Tashlich. Mi Keil Kamoicha, Noisei Ovein Al Pesha, L'Sheir Stachlose, Yashiv Rachmeinu, Yichbay Shavinasenu, let him cast away our sins, V'sashlich, and throw B'mitzulois Yam, to the depth of the sea, kol chatoisam, all their sins. So that's the 13 attributes. So you see that the 13 attributes of mercy, of the Yud Gimel Tikkun Diyukna, is what it takes to really push them. Like it says, and therefore, Yud Gimel Tikkun Diyukna, and the 13 tikkunim of the beard, Hemayim Chamim, they're hot water. That's why it's in a merchatz. She can go to the bathhouse and go take a cold shower. No, just a hot shower. The main reason why you go to a bathhouse is because they have a big water tank. There they have hot water. Right? Yeah. Ki, hemchin is gevurais. You would, kemoshakasa b'shar eracham and perik yud aleph ayin sham. One would think that the 13 attributes, they're called the 13 attributes of what? Of mercy. So they're mercy, they're not gevura. But in Eitz Chaim, he explains, and I'm going to read to you the piece over here. This is the one that fell down before. Shar Erech Ampin. It's over here. Oh, Perek Yud Aleph. I'm just going to read you one. He explains what the 13 Tikkun Diyukna are. A whole Kabbalistic discussion here. But the last line, in the end of the chapter, Perek, Shar Erech Ampin, Perek Yud Aleph, Perek, in the end, the last pasuk, the last paragraph. Harin isbar ech kol hadiyukna hisoid hadinim mishem Elokim. They're all dinim from the name of Elokim. Vatam ki kol diyukna. Every beard hu memoicha comes really because here really comes from the moiser of the moyach of the brain. Vamoyach stima, and the moach stima shem sham sharshe hadinim. Remember we said earlier. The reason we were trying to pin Gevura on Chachma. So he said that the reason we can pin Gevura on Chachma is because Chachma really comes from Moyach Stima, and in Moyach Stima is the root of all the 1320 dinim. We said it's all up there in Moyach Stima. I showed you earlier that's where the measuring is and all that. It's all originates over there, and that's the idea of Diyukna. The Diyukna is in the Erech Anpin, and it's related to, it's much lower than Moyach Stima. It's the beard, but the fact that it's here is a very narrow strand. Now, if so, why is it called, why do we want to evoke them? Because it's from a very, very high place. And from that super, super high place, we can only take from there through very narrow channels. In other words, on that level, it's true, it's Elokim, but it's the Elokim from the most expansive, infinite levels. And over there, if we access that not through Elokim, then we couldn't access it at all. So we can only take through a narrow here from that very high level. So those dinim are much more powerful than the cheseds of any other levels. The judgments of those from that very, very lofty place is intense kindness compared to even the greatest, most expansive kindness from levels that are on a lower level. So therefore, that's why we say shloish esrei midos. Midos comes from the word measures. They're measures of rachamim, but they're really dinim. It's 13 elokims, and that's why it's hot water. Merchatz is gematria 13 times Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, because really it's Rachamim, it's Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, but it's associated with Midas Hadin as well. Okay. Ikar Techias HaKlipas, so now the main pushing away of the Klipas, Huma Yud Gimel Tekuni Diyukna, is from these 13. I'm skipping right after the parentheses. That's why she went to the shower. Dafka. To shower there. Let's understand something. Had she showered at home, she would have been showering, getting the regular fire that we get Erev Shabbos, which is from, where did he say earlier? Where does the fire come from? Remember he said there's a flame of fire that goes out in all worlds to throw the klippas. He said it comes from Yud-Kei. Yud-Kei, Shalheves Yud-Kei. Yud-Kei is Chachmem Bina. Chachmem Bina is part of Atzilus. A blast of Gvura from there is intense. It will throw the klippas far. But a blast of Gvura from Keser, from the 13 strands, which are infinitely higher than Chachmem Bina, a blast of Gvura from there, a fire blast from there, will cast the klippas away, all the way, into Tahoim Rabbah, into a place where they're like, they don't have, you got to worry about them the whole Shabbos. They're out, they're not coming back. So that's why she went to the Beis HaMirchetz and didn't bathe at home. And it doesn't contradict the simple matter. The Sitra the Kedusha. You can say, according to this, if she's going to the Beis HaMirchetz, she's going up to a very high place. She's going up to the 13 strands of God's beard, higher than Atzilus, to take her shower. So that would mean she's going into holiness. But in the story, where was this Beis HaMirchetz? Where was this shower? Where was this bathhouse? It was outside of the city. Now the city represents holiness. The tchum around the city, the boundaries around the city represent the boundaries of holiness. Outside the boundaries represent the place of the klipa, the unholy. It's outside of the boundaries of holiness. The city is Ir Elokeinu, the holy city. That means outside, in a dangerous place, in the field, whatever. So how does it make sense? On the one hand, according to the deeper meaning, where is she going up? To the strands of here, Merchatz, which is above Atzilus. It's the highest levels of holiness. And yet, she's going outside of the Tchum of Kedusha. How does it work? So he says the two are related. The lowest of the low and the highest of the high are related. Because the three lower worlds, which they're considered outside of the world of holiness, because holiness, Be'ikar, is an Atzilus, is a godly world. Outside of that is already where Klippas can already exist. Biyah, which is Bria, Tzir, which is considered outside of the city, the Atzilus. Sharsham, they are really rooted, Ma'diyukna Dafka. They are really rooted in God's beard, which means higher than Atzilus, way above Atzilus. Ki Yedua, as it is known, Be'inyan Atlas Alman, as it is known in the idea of the three worlds, the Nafkin, which three worlds? The three worlds represent Bria, Yetzira, Asiya, the three lower worlds. Nafkin, where do they go out? The Zohar says, Mitikun Kadma, from the first tikkun of the 13 tikkunim. What's the first tikkun of the 13 tikkunim? Hashem, it's the Shem Hashem Ke'aracham V'chanun. By the way, most people think you start counting Hashem. Hashem is not part of the 13, according to most Mekubalim. You start with Kale. Kale, Racham, V'chanun. Kale is the first one. So it says that the three lower worlds, Bria, Tzir, and Asiya, derive from Kale, from the first of the 13 attributes. But hold it. Chachma and Bina of Atzilus are receiving, Chachma receives from the 8th tikkun, and Bina receives from the 13th tikkun, nashing through a tiny little trickle from the hair. That's what it says. A tiny drip drop to Chachma and Bina of Atzilus. Bria, Yetzir, and Asiya is considered infinitely inferior. It's nothing compared to Atzilus. How can it be that they are deriving from Kale, which is the first of the, obviously we understand that Tikkunim, the first is more powerful than the second. How can it be that it's receiving from Kale? That's a question. The Alter Rebbe asks this question in Parshas Yisroel. In Torah or Parshas Yisroel, the Alter Rebbe asks the question. The Alter Rebbe is trying to explain over there in this Maimer something really interesting. How come Moshe Rabbeinu was the one who gave us the Torah? And Avram Avinu, even though he did mitzvahs, we know in Chassidus, it's explained that we spoke about this many times, the holiness that Avram Avinu and the Avos were able to do, they could only channel God's light down into Atzilus, but they weren't able to bring it down into Bria, Tzir, and Asiyah especially. They couldn't bring it into this world. Moshe Rabbeinu brought it down in here. So he says it has to do with Moshe Rabbeinu's, the quality of Moshe's neshama. He says, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they're rooted in Atzilus. Avram is Chesed, Yitzchak. Moshe is rooted in the 13 strands of God's beard. Moshe is rooted much higher. And because he's rooted higher, he's able to bring it lower. The higher you are, the lower you can go. So this is the idea that the Alter Rebbe develops over there. He says, "V'omnam kolam shachas elu d'Avram." Again, I'm quoting from the Alter Rebbe in Parshas Yisroel. Hayanishar ba'Atzilus was remaining in Atzilus. Hainu gidol ramach evarei zar. It accomplished amazing things in Atzilus, but it remained in Atzilus. Avol kadesha yumshach bebiyah. In order for it to go in bebiyah, why they Moshe shu mebchenes chachmas dimoshe bekeser derech ampin, from this very very deep level of chachmas. Elisha nishpal, he came down b'Yisod Abba. And this idea. It says, the Alter Rebbe brings, that in order to go down to the land of Mitzrayim, it says only God himself can do that. In order to go down low, can only come. And then he brings this passage of the Zohar that he's bringing, that the Rebbe's father is bringing. It says that the 3 worlds that go out from the first tikkun. Shatlas Alman and Gimel Oilam is Bri Yatzir and Asiyah. The Hemim Shacham Atikun Arishon. It comes from the first Tikkun. Yud Gimel Tikkun the Erech Ampen Datzilus. Shubchinas Mikael Kamoicha. The first one. Who is like you? It's so high. V'zeplia Lochayra. Echi Yediluga Madregas. How can it be such a great jump? B'chinas Yud Gimel Tikkun Diyukna from the 13 strands. The Erech Ampen, especially the first one. Shumakar Atzilus. It's the source of Atzilus and infinitely higher than Atzilus. Sheyimshach Mazeh Gimel Oilam is Biyah. The 3 lower worlds. Bri Yatzir. Achenyan is Mishum da Adarabah. Ki Kedei Sheyava Ya'or Ad Lamata. That it should be able to come down low, kol kach ba'olamos, in the worlds. Bria, tzir nasiyah, tzarech sheyavim, amakam anayla b'yoser. It has to come from a higher place. Kila oitzam aroimamus, yachal hashpelas atzmei lamata yoser. Because it's so high, it can lower itself lower. Elechein sheyiyah savas oilamos biyah. In order to have the 3 worlds biyah, shu dafkai de'am shacham atikun arishon yitgimel tikun that. That's the okay. So this is what the Alter Rebbe says. So the Rebbe's father is bringing this to support that the bathhouse, that is really 13 attributes, 13 Yud Gimel Midos, it's Merchatz, it's Gematria, 388, I forgot already, 358. That's Gematria, the 13 attributes of 13 times Havaya. Then this is outside the city, outside of the Tchum of, because there's a connection from the outside to the, in other words, if she wanted to connect to that very lofty level, she couldn't do it in the city. She had to go to the unholy, because Dafka they are outside, is rooted in this lofty level, connects to this place. Dafka the diyukna of Erech Anpin, of Keser, Mispashet Lamata, is able to go down so low, Yoiser Machachma, more than Chachma can go. Where can it go? It's able to go down to a very dark place. It can go down to a place of sin, Litchoisam, to push away the klippas. Like we say in the 13 attributes of mercy, Yichpoish avonisenu, he should conquer our sins or press them down. The Tashlich, which means, as we said earlier, the klippas that are the Tashlich, and he should cast b'metzulas yam into the sea, kol chatoisam, all their sins. Valderech, similar, hayad agdoila, the great hand of God, shemispashetas gam b'mitzrayim, which is able to go down even to Egypt, l'tchoisam, to beat the Egyptians up. Ki yadua, as it is known. V'inyan zeh b'malchus, and this idea in Malchus, hu ma'ashala shesha. Oh, now where do you find this in Malchus? Ma'ashala sheshana de Malchus, that the rose of Mal, and you see this in Malchus as well. What do you see? That she goes to bathe and to wash in the 13 attributes of mercy. So remember, Malchus is also the rose. That's why the rose has the 13 petals around her. That's her. She yesh tleiser allen. She has the 13 petals. Sha yud gimel allen roim zem ala yud gimel tkune diyukna. They're the 13 strands of the bit. So there's two things. There's one, the 5 leaves protect her from being poked while she's there. The 13 petals are somehow related to help her elevate, go up when she needs to, and not be tagged along by things. And the 13 are able to, the attributes, Radinim, they're rachamim, but again, they have the power of this to cast, to go down to a very low place, to the place of the klippas, and to block them. Hayud Gimel Tevais. Now these are the 13 words. This is where it gets really excited. Shemina Lokima Echad Ala Lokima Beis. Remember we said, where are these 13 petals of the rose hinted to? Remember in Bereshis, between the first time Elokim and the second time Elokim, there were 13 words. Bereshis Bara Elokim, it was Es Hashamayim, the Es Haaretz, Va'aretz Haisas Tayo V'Voy V'Chai. Ve'ad Elokim HaBeis, Shem Es Hashamayim, Ve'es Haaretz, Va'aretz Haisas Tayo V'Voy V'Choshech Al Pnei Tohom, Ve'ruach. And then it's the next time Elokim. These are the K'mo Shekasa B'Zoyar Shama, stated in Zoyar. Now, here too, he's going to give us a parenthesis. Okay, another about 20 minutes. This is going to blow up. This is unbelievable. Now, the 13 words are divided again in 2 psukim. Now, only the Rebbe's father does this. He analyzes 2 psukim. If it's 2 psukim, 4 of them are in the first pasuk. After Elokim, let's see. Bereshis bara Elokim. That's not counted. Now we start. Es Hashamayim, the Es Haaretz is 4. The other 9 is in the next pasuk. Va'aretz haisa toyu v'voyu v'choshech al pnei tohom v'ruach. So there's another 9. That's the next pasuk. Nechlokim gam beis dalet tevis Es Hashamayim v'es Haaretz and b'pasuk echos in the first pasuk. The tes tevis min va'aretz and b'pasuk b'fnei yatzma and is an own pasuk. Hi, now why is that? Ki ayud gimel tkune diyukna nechlokim ledalet v'tes are divided into 4 and to 9. Dalet tikunim arishonim, the first 4 tikunim, v'tes tikunim achrayim, and there's 9 second tikunim. Where do we see that idea that the 13 attributes are divided in 4 and in 9? He says very simple. The Zohar, in Eitz Chaim, it says that only the Erech Anpin has 13 strands in the beard. Remember, there's two faces of God. The face in Keser, and then there's the Ze'er Anpin, when Hashem makes himself small. And Ze'er Anpin also has a beard. But it says in the Ze'er Anpin, there's only 9 strands. And the 13 is only in the Erech Anpin. So you see, the difference between 9 and 13 is 4. They're 2 sets. Ki bezo rak tes tikunim. In the Ze'er Anpin, it's only 9. Ube'erech Anpin. But in Erech Anpin, Yud Gimel, it's 13. Im kein hayasafa, the addition, hudalet. Those 4 are extra. Ukemoi, and another idea is b'matz the matzpatz. What in the world is that? Matz, and I hit this. I said, what in the world is matzpatz? I actually saw something this week from Rav Kaduri. They were saying a secret that has to do with the elections, with the Mashiach, and he brings this whole idea of matzpatz. And for a while, and then I figured it out. Thank God I figured it out. What's the matzpatz? The matzpatz is Yud Kei Vav Kei. the tetragrammaton, God's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, when you apply the Atbash system. Atbash is that you exchange the first letter with the last letter. So Aleph exchanges with Tuf, Beis with Shin, Gimel with Kuf, right? So with this cheshbon, Yud is the 10th letter of the Aleph Beis from the front. It exchanges with 10 letters from the Aleph Beis in reverse from the back. That's Mem. So Yud and Mem switch. Tzadik, Hey is the 5th letter, so it connects to the 5th letter. So Hey and Tzadik interchange. So you have Matz, Mem Tzadik, replacing Yud K. Now Vav is the 6th letter, so it goes to one letter before the Tzadik, before the Hey, which is Pei. And then you have a second Hey. So you have Matz Patz is really Yud K Vav K, but, so there's a nice secret over there. Anyways, the Mem Tzadik of the Matz Patz, the Mem Tzadik of them, are indicative to symbolize the 13 attributes, the 13 strands of God's beard. Why, I'm not exactly sure, but that's the way it says in Kabbalah, that the Mem and the Tzadik of the Matzpats represent that level. So you see in the word Matz, however, think about Mem and Tzadik. Mem is 40, which when you break it down to single digits, it's 4. Right? And Tzadik is 90. Break it down to the single digits, it's 9. So it's 4 and 9. So you see there too, it's divided. Even though it's 13, it's 4 and 9. Hine Mem, who dalet tikunim rishonim are the first 4 tikunim, v'tzadik, who test tikunim acharoinim are the latter 9. Whoever thinks they'll be bored after Mashiach comes, come learn this stuff. We're just beginning to probe. Shara Slichus Reish Perik Ches in Slichus. Oh, that's a good thing for now. Ube Mishnas Chassidim b'mispar Mesechta She'eres Atzilus Perik Tes Mishnah Ches v'Reish Perik Vav Ayin Sham. Look in all these places. Ki Adalit, and he explains even why. What's the connection? Why are they split? Ki Adalit Tikunim Rishayim and Mebchinas Keser v'Chachma de'Erechan. Again, these are the strands of the beard of Erechan. But where do they come from? So it says the first 4 tikkunim, it says over there in Eitz Chaim, come from the keser and the chachma of Erech Anpin. And the other tikkunim come from the lower spheres, from Bina and others. And that's unique. Keser and chachma stand out as very, very high. Zahu and therefore he says, take a look. The 4 that we're dealing with now are the 4 words in which pasuk? Bereishis bara Elokim. What are the 4 words? Es hashamayim ve'es haaretz. Now watch this. He says these 4 are related, in Kabbalah it says that they come from the keser and the chachma of Erech Anpin. Again, it's all in Erech Anpin, it's all in the crown. Erech Anpin is generally the level of keser. But in keser itself, the strands of the beard come from the keser of Erech Anpin. They originate there. And from the 4 tikkunim, the 4 strands, and from the chachma of Erech Anpin. Okay, now, you see that in the pasuk, Bereishis bara Elokim. Because he says, Shadal tevis eser shmayim v'aretz, haroim zem adal tikkunim, are indicated. Hem bepasuk Bereishis bara Elokim, which shebereishis roimis al gilgalta keser de Erech Anpin. Bereishis means the highest, the first. In Kabbalah it says that the word Bereishis is indicative, is shining on keser of Erech Anpin. That's called Reishis. The Elokim roimis al chachma stima. Remember we said before, the chachma of Erech Anpin is already din. It's already chachma. It's a source of chachma. It's already contracting it. It's already din. So therefore it's associated with the word Elokim. So Bereishis is the keser of Erech Anpin, the galgalta, and the Elokim is the chachma of Erech Anpin. So Bereishis bara Elokim, what comes from there? Es hashamayim ve'es haaretz, the 4 strands of the beard, they are related to keser of. V'hainu sha'adala tikunim arishonim, the first tikunim, nimshachim, they're drawn, mipchenas bereishis bara elokim. From bereishis bara elokim, keser v'chachma, the erech anpin, keser and chachma of the erech anpin, or kumuvan as it's understood. So now, watch this. Now we'll understand why she went to the shower. Again, till now this was parenthetical to explain why it's split into two. Okay. Now we see that what she went to wash in the bathhouse. Why? Because she wanted to get the fire to throw the cast away the klippas. She wanted to get it from a very high place. She wanted to receive them from the 13 attributes of the beard of the mercy. So she didn't wash in her house. If she would have bathed in her house, then the casting away of the klippas would only be from the yudke, which is only referring, which relates to chachma and bina. Then they would have not have been thrown away so much, like when she's going to the bathhouse. Shebisham, because from there, it gets pushed away. It's being pushed away from the 13 attributes of mercy. It's getting cast. They're getting punched. They're getting sucker punched from the 13 attributes of Tikkune Diyukna of Keser, which is far more powerful than what? Then not sucker punched. From the when they get rejected and pushed away from the Chachma Bina element. Because when they get pushed from such a high place, they fall much lower. They fall to the real tahom. They fall really, really low. They get cast all the way down into the Metzules Yam. Like it says, how do we know that's where it goes? Because remember, in the 13 attributes of mercy, from Micha, one of them is the Tashlich b'Metzules Yam kol chatoisam. So this is where we'll throw them all the way. It's not enough like the shower you take Erev Shabbos in your house. Maybe that's why we should take showers on Erev Shabbos, not just in our house, but go to the shower house. Go to the bath. That's why she went dafka to the Beis HaMerchatz. Well, Lafiza move on, and now we'll understand. Based on this, we'll understand that bathing in the merchatz of the 13, again, the Shoshana has the 13 petals of the rose. Hayud Gimel Tikune Diyukna, the 13 strands of the beard. What's the purpose? To throw away all the klippas that are again. When we say mitzulois, that's the tahom rabbah. That's the lowest. That's why you look in the ocean. You see that deep in the ocean. You have the ugliest creatures you've ever seen. The dark klippas that are like boom over there, like monsters. You say sea monsters. These are the ferocious creatures. V'chatosam hema klippas, and these are the klippas. Now, here is where this is crazy. This made me so excited. Now, which tikkun from these 13 tikkunim, that's why you take a machzer out, you'll see this. There are 13 tikkunim. That's a machzer? Okay. Is it machzer Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur? Good. Open up to Mincha. Tashlich. Got it? It's the end after Mincha. So when Mincha is over, we go to Tashlich. So it shows you. Mikel Kamoicha is number 1. Noisei Avain is number 2. It shows you Beis. Gimel is Oiver al Pesha. L'she'eres nachlase. Fine. V'sashtich b'metzules yom kol chatoisam is number Tes. Is the 9th one. Okay. Tashtich b'metzules yom kol chatoisam, number Tes. So now, he says, so let's look inside it. Shazeu b'tikun hates. This is, go back into the letter here. This is in the 9th tikkun. Ki v'tashlich b'metzulas yom kol chatoisam hu hatikkun hates is the 9th one. Now we'll understand why she got stuck there till it got dark. V'zeu shechosh chala. That's why she ended up getting stuck in the darkness over there. You ready for something? This is the best chap of the night. Because these 13 midos over here correspond to the 13 words in Bereshis, from Elokim, from the first Elokim to the second Elokim, there's 13 words. What are the 13 words? Let's start again. Elokim, Es Hashemayim, Ve'es Ha'aretz. V'ha'aretz, Ha'isa, Soihu, Vahu, V'choshech. Number 9. V'choshech, which is number 9, which means darkness, that's the tikkun, that corresponds to v'tashlich b'metzulos yom, throwing in Micha. Again, in Micha you have the 13 attributes, and the one that's related to throwing the klippas, to showering. That's the whole idea of the shower. So she has to stay there till it's dark. That's the reason why it darkened on her, because that's the corresponding one is v'choshech. So that's why it says it darkened on her. That's Malchus taking from the supernal darkness, from that power to throw them as far as possible. So that's why he says, read inside. So that's why it got dark to her. Ki b'hayud gimel teves, because in the 13 words, shemin elokim echad, from the first elokim, at shem elokim abeis, to the second elokim, shel enegdam corresponding, who are yud gimel alen de sheshana de malchus. These are the 13 alen. Hateva hates. What's the 9th one? Hu v'choshech is the word v'choshech. Hine im shal yedei arechitza b'merchatz. So even though, in general, by just being in that bathhouse, dochses ha-klippas, she was rejecting and throwing the klippas away, b'metzulos yam, into the vast sea, ach zeh why yedei atikun hates dafka. She needed the 9th tikkun, that was the most important one, which is v'choshech, which is darkness. L'chein v'chosh chala, it got dark for her. V'hainu shehemtina, what does it mean simply? It means that this girl, what's so beautiful is he's seeing it in a simple story. This story really happened. There was a girl, she was the daughter-in-law of Reb Oishia. She went to the bathhouse, but she waited there. She got stuck there, whatever. She couldn't find her whatever. She forgot, she lost her socks. I don't know what it was. Something caused her to be stuck over there. But the deeper reason why this happened is because this is the energy that she's representing. She waited in the bathhouse till she felt that they're really being pushed away. She was waiting until it got thrown down to the lowest places. What does that mean? She was drawing down metikun hates. She was channeling from the 9th tikkun. V'tashlich b'metzilos yam kol chatoisa. All their sins. Shehu ateva hates v'choshech. She was waiting for the ninth word in the 13 attributes. She was stimulating on v'choshech. Zeu shechosh chala. That's why it got dark for her. Oh, we're not done yet. Remember I said before that the 13 attributes of mercy are also hinted to? Oh, where are they hinted to over here? In Bereshis, where are they hinted to? In these 13 words, between the two Elokims. And then they're in Micha, but what's the first time we encounter in a full-fledged, revealed way the 13 strands of the beard? When Moshe Rabbeinu evoked them. Hashem, Hashem, kel rachum v'chan. So in Moshe Rabbeinu's Hashem, Hashem, now let's take a look back in the Tashlich over here. Go back into your siddur. It says when you're saying Tashlich, you should have a mind. You're saying that we say the tikkunim of Micha, but in our mind we should also think the tikkunim of Moshe. So the first one we say Mikel Kamoicha, it really corresponds to Kel. But you start with Hashem Hashem. But you also have in mind, because remember I told you before, Hashem Hashem is not really part of it. It starts with Kel, but the pasuk begins with Hashem Hashem, so you start with Hashem Hashem. So Mikel Kamoicha, you have in mind Hashem Hashem Kel. Noisei Avon, you have in mind Rachum. Okay, each one has a different one. Let's get to V'tashlich b'metzulos yam kol chatoisam. Which word is it? that corresponds to Moshe Rabbeinu's Hashem, Ke'orachim v'chanon, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed. Let's start. It's Kale, Rachum, Chanon. We're looking for the ninth one. Erech, Apayim, Rav Chesed is one. The Emes is another one. Noitzer Chesed is another one. La'alofim, which means thousands. Now we get an idea why she gets stuck outside of the 2,000 cubits. Now we're dealing with, remember, she's there, now she can't come back in because she's stuck outside in the 13. She got stuck by Tashlich. She couldn't make her way back home from Tashlich. But she got, why? Because that darkness is associated with the word alpayim, alafim. But how many thousands is in that alafim? Usually you think that alafim means 2,000. Because what does it mean in the simple meaning? Noitzer Chesed, Hashem watches kindness for us, la'alafim, to 2,000 generations. That's what it says. Hashem keeps, if you do a good thing, God will pay not only you back, God will pay back 2,000 generations of your offspring will be paid back for your good deed. But he says over here that in Kabbalah it says that the alafim doesn't only mean 2,000, it means 3,000. Why? Alafim, thousands, the word 1,000 comes from the word elef, which elef is the same word as aleph. In God's names, there are 3 alephs. There's one aleph in the name Elokim. Aleph. There's another aleph in the name Eke. The first name, the name that Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, Eke Asher Eke. So the first letter is an aleph. And there's another aleph in the name Ado, Aleph Daled Nun Yud. These are the 3 alephs. So this is 3,000. 3 alephim. Okay. But 2,000 is within holiness, and 1,000 extends outside of the borders of holiness. Because what's the measure of Tchum Shabbos? The measure of Shabbos is what? 2,000 cubits. But since she was channeling, she's waiting for darkness, she's waiting for this, and the la'alafim means 3,000, so she gets caught outside of the Tchum, 3,000 cubits away. Which is, the third 1,000 is outside of the realm of holiness. Which aleph is that corresponding to? Let's see. V'hinei b'tikunei Moshe, in the tikunim of Moshe, ha-tikun ha-tes, the 9th tikun, hu la'alafim, is the word la'alafim. For who gimel alfin, these are the 3 alephs, the shem Eke, the name Eke starts with an aleph. The shem Elokim, and the name of Elokim, the shem Adna, and the name Aleph Daled Nun Yud. Again, all this said in Pri Etz Chaim in the portal of Shofar. The Kavanas Tashlich Ayin Shal. And actually in the Kavanas of Tashlich, he speaks about these 3 alephs. The Gimel Alafim Amma, and therefore the 3,000 cubits, Hem Mechutz L'Tchum, they go outside of the Tchum. Kishir HaTchum, because the shear of the Tchum, of the Tchum means the border of Shabbos, who Beis Alafim Amma, is only 2,000 amos. Zehu V'Choshchala. That's why it got dark for her. Now take a look at an interesting thing. Choshcha, what is it? V'Choshcha, it got dark because it's Choshech, right? The word Choshech, he says, is the same gematria as 3 alephs. Not Elef, not 3,000, not Elef, not 1,000, not Aleph meaning Elef, but take the word Aleph, Aleph Lamed Pei. So Aleph Lamed Pei is 111. 3 times 11 is 333. Let's take a look at the word Chashcha. Chashcha is 300, Shin, Chaf, 320, plus a Ches, 328, plus a 5, 333. So Chashcha is related to 3,000, because darkness, the place of the Klippus over there, it's 3,000 amos. It's outside of Kedusha. So she, Chashcha. Gimel Pamam Aleph, B'mechuvan, exact. Zeu Sheneshara, that's where she got stuck, Mechutz L'Tchum, outside of the Tchum. Ki Atchum Urak Beis Alafim Amma, the Tchum is only 2,000. V'hi Neshara Mechutz L'Tchum, she's outside. B'mokem HaKlippus, why? She wanted to wash them off, but she has to go into their territory to really suck them. B'makam HaKlippus, Shehem HaTahoim Rabbah, these are the deep, dark place. So now she's stuck because she can't come back in. Now her mother-in-law comes to the rescue. Who's the mother-in-law? If Chachma is the father-in-law, Rabbi Oishia's wife is Bina. So Bina is the mother-in-law. Why is she the mother? She's also the mother of Malchus, but she's also the mother-in-law. Because she's her husband's mother. Bina is the mother of the 6 masculine spheres. Eim Habanim. Leah. It's really the level of Leah. She's the mother, and she's the mother-in-law of Shoshana. Or Esther, or whoever this is. And why does the mother-in-law get so busy with the boundaries of Shabbos? Why does the mother-in-law get so busy with the boundaries of Shabbos? He says, because in Hebrew, the word mother-in-law is chamosa, chamos. Chamos is mother-in-law. It's the same letters as tchum, boundaries. Because a mother-in-law is always the one who has to set the boundaries. Her daughter-in-law comes to her house, and she's eating up all the food, she's doing all the dish, she's going there, the mother has to set. The mother-in-law, right? The shviger. She has to be a real shviger. Chamois. Chamois is the same words as the word tchum. The chamois oisi is tchum. Ki atchum nimshach mebina. The whole idea of tchum Shabbos really comes from bina. Okay. Here we're holding by their mother-in-law. Here's where we're going to stop. Here's where I told her I got to prepare. And this is when I was begging that we should have come back in an hour. I'll have more time. We'll be able to go further. This is where I got to. I got to the part where the mother-in-law comes to the rescue. So he's going to explain the whole of the Tchum. What does an Erev do? He's going to explain what a whole Erev does, as it's able to take places that belong in Klippa and include it into holiness. It's a whole situation. To be able to allow her back in. And why Reb Chia didn't like it, didn't allow this to happen. What is it she did with the Erev, the whole thing. First he's going to explain the whole thing. Why is suddenly the mother-in-law getting so helpful? I thought Reb Oishia was such a good father-in-law. He's the protector, he's the 5 coming from Chachma. Why suddenly he becomes completely irrelevant over here? He can't do anything. Only his wife can get the tchum going. And based on all of this, in the end, we're going to understand how Tashlich works. It's pretty cool, pretty neat. But we know already quite a lot. We know already why we're going to this place and why we're saying these 13 attributes and what's happening now. And it's being cast away on being tied the day of Binyan HaMalchus. And all this needs to this. Okay, we're going to finish it next week. I mean, I have a cheshik to finish at Matzah Shabbos, Erev Rosh Hashanah, but you need a cook. We can't push it. Okay. Okay. Who would think? So we basically learned a page and a half of this. The letter that the Rebbe's father sent is another 1, 2, 3, 4, another 4.5 two-sided pages. Every word is just, and this is his casual talk. This is what he sends him. Hello, how you doing? You understand? You're dealing with the Rebbe. You're dealing with, No one.
I don't understand.
I'm going to sneak peek. Maybe I'll tell you.